Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, September 6th, 2024. It is a big day. Today, as we're recording, the NFL season is back. We are just over 3 hours away from the game starting. It's 5 p.m. right now. Luke, what are our first thoughts with football in the NFL officially beginning today?
Well, I hope that everybody enjoyed the Ravens win because I sure didn't. Um, that's kind of my early prediction, but kind of aside from football, Grayson, I got something else on my mind, something that I want to talk about on the podcast, and
Let's
that's
do it.
rest in peace, Rich Homie Quan.
Facts.
Seriously.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was going to bring it up at
Yeah,
some point.
obviously a massive Atlanta rapper. If you're a music fan and you're from Georgia and you don't know who Rich Homie Quan is, you missed out because just some really, really iconic songs that like I couldn't go through his whole discography. Like I wasn't a fan like that, but just it does suck. Just kind of like listening to older songs, it's really like amazing to hear how him and Young Thug kind of like cultivated that weird vocal Atlanta like trap music.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just really, really, really unfortunate. I think it was an overdose. So condolences from Second and Short to Rich Homie Quan's family and everybody involved because that's sad.
Yeah, a lot of bad things happening in Georgia the last couple of days.
Yeah, and the school shooting 30
Yeah,
minutes away from where I live in
yeah,
Athens.
at Appalachia High
Um,
School up in Winder, just
horrible,
horrifying to see.
horrible, horrible stuff. Yeah,
We're obviously not going to get deep on that one because that is a whole thing, but definitely our condolences go out to
yeah,
families, friends, students,
yes,
anybody.
yes.
Okay, but
Yep.
let's talk about the NFL. You already said it. Congratulations to the Ravens for winning the first game of the season. I'll take it a step
Glad we're on the
further.
same page with
I'll
that
take it a step further. Congrats on the Ravens for winning 27-20 over the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football.
Okay.
We're gonna
Right.
talk about it late, like in like 5 minutes, maybe. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about the game in like 2 minutes. But
Yeah.
that's my score prediction. Um, yeah, the NFL is back. We got a game tonight as you guys are listening to this. Packers, Eagles in Sao Paulo. We've got a full slate of games on Sunday. We've got a Monday night game. It just like it almost doesn't even feel real yet. Like I
Yeah.
need to see the game on the field. Actually, I take that back because like Thursday and Friday probably won't feel real either because they're
Mm.
standalone games. I
Yeah.
need 4 games on the TV at one time.
Yeah.
Like I need to be watching
Yeah.
all 4 of them simultaneously, living and dying by every play.
Yeah. Well, we get that Sunday.
We definitely
So,
do. All right. Well, we've got a couple of different things. So obviously, our NFL Week 1 preview. If you've never seen us do an NFL preview, we go through every single game and just kind of hit on the ones we want to, quickly run over the ones that we don't really care to talk too much about, and just kind of it's free flowing. And just gives us a chance to talk about everything going on in the NFL and talk about the matchups we've got. MLB Recap will be moving to second in the order now. That I have a feeling up until maybe the last like week of the season is probably going to be rather slow. Just because that's where we're at with the MLB. Like no team is going to be clinching within the next week or so, so not much to talk about there. But of course, there's still things happening that we will talk about. We are on an international break this weekend in soccer, so we're going to talk through the new Champions League format and then the draw that happened, I think, last week that we technically could have covered on the podcast, but we had too many things going on already. So we pushed it to this week. So we're going to talk about the format and the draw and some of the key matchups. Then we'll kind of do our preview next week for the Champions League and talk about placement, knockout stages, eliminated teams, and so on and so forth. And then we'll round it out with questions time. We got a traditional questions time from Nathan today, which is what we're looking
oh,
for.
sweet.
No articles because look, the tweets were actually very fun to talk about. Other than that, we turned that into like a 45-minute part of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, classic questions time today. So, I'd like to remind everybody for questions time, submit your questions to the Second and Short subreddit, 2 and D, A and D short. It's down here on the bottom of the screen right below Luke. And you can also follow us on all of our social media accounts. Feel free to shoot us a DM if you don't use Reddit and ask us questions there. Um,
Sure.
Obviously, follow us, check out everything. Make sure if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, turn on post notifications, because if you didn't follow us on Instagram and you didn't watch Monday's episode when Luke happened to called into the show, which was awesome, awesome timing. If you didn't
Yeah.
see the Instagram, then your last resort was YouTube notifications. So you got to turn on those YouTube notifications to know that Luke dropped his August Premier League Team of the Month, the first of the season. It'll be coming out monthly. I'm super happy with it. I'm super happy that Luke is kind of taking that over, doing his own content idea, and really running with it. So he's gonna, I gave him some help with the editing this first go round, and he's gonna just kind of pick it up and start working on some more things on top of that as well. So I'm super happy. Luke, feel free to talk a little bit about that video series and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, the editing process was definitely fun. Super long time. Grayson
Yes.
and I
Yeah. I
sitting in
think we put in a
Discord.
cool 8 hours.
Yeah, yeah. And you and I, what was it? Tuesday night, stayed in Discord until like 2:30,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. It was about
Like
2:30.
waiting to post that. So yeah, we both spent a lot of time on it. Obviously, Grayson was kind of telling me, what to do if I had any questions, and then I would kind of like pick it up and kind of be able to go on my own for a little bit, then have to go back to Grayson. But yeah, it's a great skill to have under my belt, and I'm glad that I can kind of bring my own content to this platform. And it's a great video. Go and watch it if you kind of miss the month of August in the Premier League, because it's a pretty decent kind of, I'm not going by team. It's only the best players of August, but still, like, it's a good refresher on kind of what happened. So,
Yeah. And that's kind of
yeah,
just,
feel free to check it out on our YouTube. So,
yeah. And that's a good way for us because, we don't like to spend too much time in these episodes on the Premier League. And we only really talk about like a couple of matchups. So we don't get to talk about individual player performances all that much.
yeah,
And really like recap things that have happened over like a course of time in the Premier League. So that's like a unique opportunity for our listeners to go and listen to that and listen to kind of Luke's take on everything that's going down month by month in the Premier League. And I think having that video come out every Wednesday, every first Wednesday of the month is going to be fun. Maybe we'll start mixing some other things in there that are maybe a monthly thing or a weekly thing or every other week. Like who really knows what we could do? We've got some ideas kind of down the pipeline that we want to start working on. Maybe not immediately, but once we can iron some things out, maybe we'll let you know right here. So make sure you're following everywhere, podcast platform, rate 5 stars and follow. Luke, are you ready to get into NFL
ooh,
Week 1?
yeah. We got about 3 hours in real time until it starts, so I'm ready to get it kicked off early. Let's
I
let's talk
am
about these games.
so excited. I
Yeah,
really am so excited to talk about this stuff. And we'll start with Thursday Night Football. Obviously, this will have already happened by the time that people are listening to this, but the Chiefs are a 3-point favorite at home against the Ravens. I'm gonna be honest. I think the biggest thing that is gonna hurt the Chiefs today is the Chiefsaholic was sentenced to 17 and a half years in jail today, this morning.
oh man.
How dare they do that to Chiefsaholic on this day, on the season opener?
Yeah.
Okay, look, I know he committed multiple armed bank robberies, but
Yeah.
let him
However,
have the season opener. At
yeah.
least put it on a TV like outside of his cell or something tonight. Like, I don't know how quickly he's going to be put in the slammer, but he needs to watch the Chiefs tonight. It's only fair.
Yeah. To me, I just don't think the Chiefs are a very like early NFL team. Um,
No.
I'm excited to see all of the wide receivers that they've added, like Marquise Brown, Xavier
Yeah.
Worthy. I think that's going to be interesting for Patrick Mahomes. It'll be also interesting to see if Isaiah Pacheco is like developed any. I feel like we've kind of
People
seen the same
Yeah,
thing
people
from him,
are
but
talking really highly of him right now, and I don't know if it's very warranted.
yeah, I don't know, but I do know. We I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but Derrick Henry watched the AFC Championship game last year and said something along the lines of like, "Man, I wish I could have suited up
Hmm.
against the Chiefs" or something like that. So I'm expecting a pretty big day for the King. Even
Yeah,
though I think overall
yeah,
he's going to be a bust, but I think Week 1 he probably comes out firing. We also have Lamar Jackson, who it weighs like 72 pounds now. That'll be fun to see how he navigates that and how he plays, and maybe if his style has changed. So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we couldn't have gotten a better first game, but I think Baltimore is going to win.
Okay, yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah. I think this is a dream matchup, honestly, for this point as well. Like to open up the season, standalone game. It's probably the game like one of very few matchups I would choose. Um,
yeah,
Interested to see the
definitely.
Ravens linebacker changes and how that plays out. Um,
No more
the
Patrick Queen.
Yeah, no more Patrick Queen. They lost somebody else that I'm blanking on as well, who went to the Bengals. Um, was it Geno Stone?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think they
may have
lost
been
Geno
Geno Stone.
Stone.
Yeah.
But that's like two key players that they've had on that team for a number of years now, and they're gone. They didn't exactly make a ton of defensive replacements, but they added depth in other positions that I think is going to really help them out. Um, but I'm most interested to see Derrick Henry, honestly, in the way that he'll work in this offense alongside Lamar Jackson, because like we considered the Ravens a very good running team last year, but J.K. Dobbins was out the entire season, as per usual. And,
Mhm.
and Gus Edwards is not a big yardage running back. And Keaton Mitchell had like 2 games that he was worth a shit in. So
Yeah,
bringing Derrick Henry into an offense that we called a rushing offense that was literally just Lamar Jackson for the
yeah,
rushing yards portion of it is like a game changer. If that's still going to be their approach, that's a big, big change. And, I'm not sure exactly how to feel about Zay Flowers going into this year. I don't know how things are going to look. I'm not quite as high as I was, even though he had a good rookie year. I don't know why. I'm not quite as high as I was. Um, and then, losing OBJ isn't like a huge problem, but it could be, if that makes any sense. Like, it could be a
yeah.
problem losing somebody on that offense that just occupies a defender, essentially.
Yep. I actually want to make a quick correction from earlier. Marquise Brown is out for this game,
Okay.
so he will
For
not
some
be there.
reason, when you said that, I thought about it and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But going back to Chiefs receivers, Rashi Rice is going to play today.
Dude,
I literally I
unbelievable.
kept looking at him in all of my fantasy leagues that he was like on the waiver wire in, or he wasn't on anybody's team. Dang, that took me a while to get out. But and I was just like, is this guy really not going to get suspended? I mean, there's a video,
Yeah,
a pretty clear one of what happened. But I guess the Chiefs are just very fortunate
I
for
guess.
that. I
Yeah,
really I know his trial's still pending, but I just can't even believe that the team didn't hand anything down on him. And I'm not saying
that is
they should or
surprising.
they shouldn't. I'm just it's surprising
It definitely is
to me, very
surprising.
surprising.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up since this game kind of already happened for the people listening. But I'm gonna go, like I said, Ravens 27, Chiefs 20.
Yeah, obviously a Steelers fan here, but um, probably going to be Baltimore like 28-21.
Okay. Also,
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey might be breaking up with Taylor Swift. We don't know. It might be
Oh
planned.
yeah, yeah, an arranged breakup.
Yeah, which I I think was supposed to be the end of September. So we'll see if it happens. Okay,
You might
let's
go into
move on.
demon time.
Yeah, he might. Let's move on to another big game that I'm also very excited for. The Friday game, Sao Paulo, Corinthians Stadium, I believe. Is that right? Or is it the other one?
Yes.
Is it Corinthians or is it Palmeiras?
I'm gonna look it up real fast.
Okay, well, it's in Sao Paulo. It's between the Packers and the Eagles, who both wear green. Um, And I'm gonna be honest. The main thing I'm gonna watch this game for, other than football, is to see how the Packers actually look early in the season, stacking up against an extremely competitive team. I want to see how they look. I want to see how Matt LaFleur coaches them after these kind of high expectations have been put on them after how well they looked in the second half of the season last year. I'm excited to see what Jordan Love has to offer after a breakout season last year in his first year as a starter. And I'm also
Mhm.
interested to see what Josh Jacobs can do. I know last year was such a down year, but like this is kind of the year where we figure out, okay, was 2 years ago lightning in a bottle, or was last year just like a down year for Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs? I think it's going to be interesting to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue it's the best team that Josh Jacobs has been on his whole career.
I don't think it's an argument
Yeah,
at all.
probably not. But yeah, I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see though because the Packers have, the past couple years used Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Yes. And
I
AJ Dillon, I think, is
with
hurt right now as
he's not
well.
on the injury list that I'm looking at right here.
Oh, okay. He might have
So it
got
looks like
banged
he's
up
going to
in
play.
practice.
But and this isn't a dog against Josh Jacobs or his character. I don't think Josh Jacobs would sign for a team that's going to split his reps.
Maybe.
But
But like every running
AJ
back has to take a
Dillon,
break. That's the thing. Like, I don't think
yeah,
it's not a matter of like splitting reps because like AJ Dillon had games where he only got 10 carries or 9 carries or whatever, and it didn't seem like it. He doesn't have the ego for it. So Josh Jacobs can still get 20 carries.
that's what I'm saying. Is like he better at least be getting 20 carries. He can get all the breaks he needs, but I need
Yeah,
20 carries
and
from
like
Josh Jacobs.
I think for him as well, he can expect some attention in the passing game as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no Devin White this game. The Eagles actually have some like major
Yeah,
injuries.
significant injuries.
Just being Isaiah Rodgers and Devin White. The Packers look pretty healthy going
Yeah,
into this game compared to
yeah,
Philly. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I think kind of an interesting story though that I've been seeing is like I haven't heard anything on the Packers side, but maybe I can imagine that the Packers are feeling the same way as Philadelphia. I've been hearing reports that a lot of Eagles players are kind of like, I don't know about playing in Brazil.
yeah. I, I'm not surprised necessarily.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
and that's not to dog on like Brazil or their like sport culture, but they don't have a good track record of international like games being played there from outside the country, like the World Cup and the Olympics did not go well, and the aftermath was
yeah,
worse. This isn't like this is not at all close to the same scale, but the track record of that is in both situations. I think we saw a lot of crime issues involving the athletes or the teams that come along with these athletes.
hmm
That's not good. And that's not a good look for the NFL because the NFL, out of any league, is always going to wait and watch. They let everybody
yeah,
else be the test subject every single time on everything. And
yeah,
obviously, something must have happened to compel them to be like, we've got to do something in Brazil. So I don't know what changed. I don't
yeah,
know what this cause is. I understand the idea of trying to tap into a South American market that really isn't there. There is a European market for
yeah.
football. It's not huge, but there is a European market and they've created it. There is a
There's
very big
Mexico market.
yeah, there's a very big Mexico market as well because
Yeah,
of close proximity. And then obviously the UK kind of falls into that Europe thing, but theirs is significantly bigger than any other European country.
yeah.
I just don't know if the South American fan base for the NFL is large enough yet to warrant a game in Brazil.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't unfortunately seen like how many people they're expecting. I don't know if it's going to be like a sold out crowd, but
Yeah.
if it is a sold out crowd, I think even on the broadcast, it's going to be extremely loud.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
which I'm very
yeah.
excited
It's
about.
hard to avoid.
Very, very excited about. You are not going to be able to call a play in this game
No, no.
whatsoever. But
Uh,
overall, I'm actually really excited that they're playing in Brazil.
yeah,
I hope everything goes well, but I definitely think it warrants some discussion. And you brought up great points about how Brazil in the past have kind of been, a little bit shaky with international sporting events. So we'll see, but I'm excited about it.
yeah.
So
Two quick things, real. Just on the Eagles, I'm really looking forward to see how Saquon fits into this offense. Um,
same.
they've never
Yes,
had that good of a running back. DeAndre Swift was very good last year, and especially early in the season, played his role to a T. Probably way exceeded my expectations, at least at his
Mhm.
position for what he was known for with Detroit. Now he's gone. They replace him with Saquon. Saquon, a very different type of running back. He's a running back that you hand the ball off to. He's not
Yeah,
as, not to say that he can't play well in the receiving game, but he's not as much of a passing game threat. But they have the wide receiver room and a elite tight end to make up for it.
definitely.
I
Yeah.
just I don't know how they're going to change that offense around enough to supplement what Saquon deserves in the running game.
That's a very good point. What I don't want to see is him end up being like a consistent like 16 to 18 carries a game back. But
Yeah.
that's a very good point that you just made is how they would have to make extreme changes to the way that they
Yeah.
play call on offense to fit a guy who, to be honest, just needs the football
Yeah,
more than anybody else on your entire offense now.
he demands 25 carries.
Yeah.
That's what it takes for Saquon. And the thing is you can give Saquon 25 carries. Well, how many times is Jalen Hurts going to throw the ball? How many times is Jalen Hurts going to run the ball? That's another thing. Also, with the Eagles comes the idea of like things have changed a lot. Obviously, Kelsey being the biggest change, and Brandon Graham as well on the defensive side, both of them retiring is a big move. But I think it's more the biggest part of that and the biggest repercussion for the current Eagles team is the fact that the tush push probably won't be quite as effective without the anchor of it in front of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So that might be something that is just simply out of the cards. Now, they've probably been practicing it all summer, but
Yeah.
that could be
With
something we
Saquon.
see that is affected. I
Yeah.
also am just kind of interested, at least in the first game, to see what the battle looks like between Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean for playing time.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be an
Yeah,
interesting
that's a
thing to
good one.
follow in these first couple weeks of the season while they still kind of establish their rankings in the depth chart.
I think what I'm going to predict is that Quinyon Mitchell is definitely your corner. Um,
But the thing
aside from
is he's
Darius
already
Slay.
going to be operating out of the nickel because Keely Ringo is locked down cornerback two. AJ or in
Yeah,
sorry, not AJ Brown. Darius Slay has cornerback one. James Bradbury's hurt, doesn't deserve the spot anyways.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think it definitely helps Tyler Nubin's case with him just being so flexible in the secondary. He can play every
Yeah.
position there. So he'll be a guy that they can definitely fit somewhere. But Quinyon Mitchell is y- obviously I love Keely Ringo. Um, hold him very close to my heart. But Mitchell might be better.
Yeah. Did you say Tyler Nubin? Isn't he on the Giants?
Yes. Sorry, Cooper DeJean is
Okay.
who I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, I'm glad I caught that because I probably would have gone the entire week thinking, where's Tyler Nubin? Okay.
Spreading false news.
Score predictions. What are we thinking?
Um, I'm
Eagles are a 3-point
taking the
favorite.
Packers.
Okay.
The Eagles are a 3-point favorite.
Yes.
Packers 31,
Ooh.
21.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go much closer, and I'm gonna go. Um, let's go 24-27 Eagles. I think the Packers are
Okay.
great, but they can also afford a loss and still look good. If that makes any sense,
Yeah.
they can afford a loss in this position and still look good.
Yeah. No, I
Okay,
think so.
let's get to it. Me versus you. Me versus you, week 1 o'clock. Steelers versus Falcons. The Falcons, a
uh,
3.5-point favorite at home. Lot of key injuries right now for the Steelers.
I, yeah, Russ Wilson's calf won't stay on his leg.
Yeah, and then 3 offensive linemen. One being questionable in Troy Fatanu, but Isaac Seumalo and Nate Herbig are out.
Yeah, it's just like how we haven't even done anything.
Yeah, it's just getting
We
started. And
have
then
done
also
nothing yet.
Roman Wilson is already questionable as well. So both your kind of your top 2 rookies, at least for immediate impact, are
But yeah,
questionable.
well, at least you know what? I was gonna make a joke, but never mind.
No, please do.
I was gonna say something. Well, at least we don't have Milo Effler on the IR.
Yeah, that's like the best player that's on the IR right now. No, the best player on the IR,
uh,
I would probably say is Rondale Moore. Um,
yeah.
Nonetheless, what what's your thoughts with the quarterback? If Russ is banged up, why not just immediately start Justin Fields for now?
I yeah, no, I'm completely fine with that. I think. Oh God, it is. This is such a difficult season. I
Yeah,
haven't been this down bad about a Steelers season in a long time, and it's crazy because we got a hell of a lot better on paper this year.
at
Um,
some positions, I think you got worse in some as well.
yeah. W- Justin Fields seems more like a big play. I've seen better just single highlights out of this guy, but I think overall Russell Wilson is probably going to be less mistakes. He's going to have
Yeah,
less mistakes that he makes.
I can agree with
Um,
that.
Man, the wide receivers, wow,
It's
we are
atrocious.
chalked. And like, definitely have the worst wide receiver group in the whole NFL. I think that's an argument,
Yeah, like
or at
there's
least like top
you
three.
could probably say that George Pickens wouldn't be a number 1 wide receiver on a lot of teams in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
And there's
I'm
a
excited
steep
about a lot
drop
of
off
our.
after him too.
Yeah, mega. Von
Yeah,
Jefferson is your wide receiver too.
Van Jefferson.
And Jefferson, thank you.
Notably one of my least favorite Falcons ever. And it's because he had like 2 games, 2 fumbles.
Yeah. Overall, I've never seen Pittsburgh lose to Atlanta in my life. Um, this is the this is definitely it might change.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna pick Atlanta to win this game. I can't do that to the Steelers because I still think you can argue there are ways that the Steelers win. Um, and the way that I'm gonna do that is I think this game's gonna be ugly offensively for both teams.
could be
I think there's
for
going to be a
sure.
lot of turnovers, and what's going to make the difference is the Steelers are going to be more productive with their turnovers. Like we might get a defensive touchdown in this game. Um, and I'm going to go ahead and give a score prediction. I think it's going to be 17-14 Steelers, but it's
Okay.
if I'm going to be real, it's not looking good.
Okay. Interesting.
So
Uh,
yeah,
look, I've been I've been given false hope by the Falcons a number of times in my life. Um, I I can't even say this is the worst I've ever like this isn't the highest I felt about a team. I felt
okay,
higher going into the season that got us to the Super Bowl. I felt higher the season after that. This time it's more just like I wasn't that low before. I was low
yeah,
last year and the year before for that matter. I
yeah,
was real low. Now we made the right moves. I there's not a move that I absolutely hate. I don't love the Michael Penix draft pick, but there's not a move out there that we made that I don't like. And I think that almost scares me more than anything. That I'm cool with what's going on. I think Raheem Morris was a good hire. I questioned it at first just because I thought we were in a position where we should just go out and get an experienced head coach that knows how to win. But I think the fact that Raheem Morris already has a history in Atlanta and he has been on the precipice of becoming a head coach for a couple of years. Like he is a guy that's been interviewing for jobs. So I'm I'm not exactly upset that he's the guy that's here. And he knows the culture, he knows the city. I can respect the shit out of that. Because it's way better than the position that Arthur Smith was in, where Arthur Smith was just a cog in the machine that was the Titans with Derrick Henry in his prime, and just was a great offensive coordinator. But I don't know if he ever had the leadership capabilities of being a head coach. I just think he looked good on paper. And then the Falcons went out and got him as this big time move because it was a big summer. We had just fired Dimitrov. We had just fired Dan Quinn. We had to go make a move at GM and head coach. And that almost always blows up in your face. Almost always.
Yeah.
And Terry Fontenot has been abysmal up until this offseason. And I think now is the time for the Falcons to turn that around. But I'm not just going to immediately buy in and be like, yep, we're winning all these games. I can't see it that way yet. I need to see Kirk Cousins play healthy coming off of an ACL tear. I need to see Kyle Pitts utilized correctly and not just talked about being utilized correctly. And he's also nursing a hamstring injury to start the season. I need to see all of these great players on the defense that we already had and that we acquired with a brand new DC as well. Because last year the defense was great, but Ryan Nielsen seemed, at least in my eyes, to be the key to that. And he's in Jacksonville now. So brand new coaching staff all the way throughout. I'm excited to see what Zach Robinson offers as an offensive coordinator. I'm not going to keep rambling much longer, but I think overall with the Falcons and how I'm looking at week one is just go out there and just don't try to prove anything. Because like this, look, we're going to get absolutely shit on by somebody here early in the season. We have to face the Eagles. We have to face the Chiefs here in this early part of the season. Somebody's going to make us look bad. I already know that. But if you can just keep yourself in a reasonable spot and just get yourself to that final 8 games of the season where it's just a cakewalk all the way through and you feel good when you get to that point, if you have a positive record going into those last 8 games, we could end up having an actually good seed in the playoffs and like winning the NFC South handedly. But if we just like go out there and immediately fall flat on our face trying to do something that we're not capable of early on, we're going to get to that point and be like, yes, we can get these wins, but that only gets us to 8.
Yeah.
Or that only gets us to 9, and that's just not good enough. So I'm not going to fully buy in just yet on what the Falcons have cooking, but I'm cleaning the slate. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm cleaning the slate. I don't care that the offense was bad last year, and I don't care that the defense was good. This is a brand new team. With that being said, the Steelers are dysfunctional on offense, to say the least, in my eyes. The defense is as good as ever, probably better than years past with the acquisitions y'all made. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be close, if that makes sense. I'm going to go 17-7 Falcons.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, just a reminder, Justin Simmons and Matt Judon are on the Falcons now. So that's going to be extremely exciting.
Yeah, I need to see what the defense has to offer with a different defensive coordinator and a lot of new faces. Yeah. All right. Cardinals versus Bills. Bills is 6.5-point favorite at home. The Bills should kick the shit out of them. On paper, the Bills should beat the shit out of them. The Cardinals defense is a huge liability. It 100% is the worst aspect of this team now. And I think that should be enough. But we have no clue. Buffalo is like, yes, I'm super high on them. And I love what I've seen already. But just because they made some changes at wide receiver doesn't mean this team's going to change. but I think it will. Like I said multiple times this summer when they were making these acquisitions that these were the right moves. Stephon Diggs didn't fit this offense, but Keon Coleman does. Gabe Davis doesn't fit this offense, but Khalil Shakir does. Curtis Samuel is going to be useful in some capacity of this offense as well. And James Cook is still there. You still have Kincaid. You still have Dawson Knox for some
Yeah.
weird reason. And why, to me, why wouldn't it work? Josh Allen was
Yeah.
very, very good last year once the offense changed. But Stephon Diggs was bad. And Gabe Davis was bad too. But Khalil Shakir showed up. If you've got guys that work in this offense, why wouldn't it work? Because Josh Allen made some guys at the end of last year look way better than they really were, or really are, or were before, whatever you want to say. This offense should work, but I need to see the dynamic of this wide receiver room. Is it going to be day one, Keon Coleman's the guy, feed him the ball? Or is it going to take some time to figure it out?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because it's the first time that I can recall that Josh Allen has been given a wide receiver to kind of mold. And they
Yeah.
gave him a tight end in the draft last year to mold, and Dalton Kincaid. So I think this Bills team can only get better in years to come. But this season in particular, super super high on Keon Coleman.
Yeah, I
Super
definitely
high
am
on
too.
Keon Coleman.
And on the other end,
This
a
guy
rookie.
in this
Go
offense
ahead.
is going to be stupid good.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
think so.
Um,
I think with the way Josh Allen plays, it fits how Keon Coleman plays a wide receiver. He can catch anything in his vicinity. He's super athletic. He can jump out the gym, out the stadium, whatever the fuck you want to say. He's just extremely talented, and it goes very well with his extremely talented, extremely athletic quarterback. Because Josh
Yeah.
Allen's going to be, he likes to scramble, but he also likes to throw on the run. And if he's just having to toss something up to Keon Coleman, I think Keon Coleman probably has a better chance catching it than Stephon Diggs did last year. Because Diggs isn't exactly
Definitely.
this big, physical, athletic wide receiver. Keon Coleman's 6'4", and he's got like the highest vert ever.
Yeah.
The guy
on
played
the
college
on the
basketball,
other side,
or he could have played college basketball.
yeah. And for the Cardinals, you kind of have something similar. You're having finally a healthy Kyler Murray starting
Yeah.
week 1, which is refreshing for me as an NFL fan. I cannot wait to see Kyler Murray play.
I could, personally.
And he has Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. I think
and
that's huge.
Trey McBride for a full year.
Yes.
So, the Cardinals, like I said last season, you're finally starting to see the blueprint with Arizona.
Agreed.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I like Jonathan
So-
Gannon as their head coach as well. I think he was early on. I probably I didn't love it, but I saw promising things out of that team last year. It's just injuries killed them, and just a lack of talent in a lot of important areas. And I still think the defense is lacking a lot of talent. But
Yeah.
the big question for me is: are Kyler and Marvin gonna be this fantastic duo out the gate? Because yes, they've had the whole off season to figure things out, but like, how is Kyler in? Like, is he actually in? Like, is Kyler so set on playing well this year? Because in past, yeah, I know we can make the Call of Duty jokes, but
Yeah.
there was times where it was like, does he want to get traded? Do the Cardinals want to trade him? Like, do they want to get rid of him? And then we get this coaching change. And yes, they went from like a 3-win team to a 5-win team or whatever. But like, not that much change. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Cliff Kingsbury denier, as big of one as you could find. But I don't know if his success or his failures were exactly Kyler's fault or not.
Yeah.
But I do think it
something
is
else to-
interesting to watch.
Yeah. Something else that I kind of wanted to point out was that when we did our NFC West preview, I'm pretty sure Trey Benson was the third string running back behind Amari
Yes.
DiMercado. That is now changed.
Good.
So it goes Connor and then Trey Benson, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think this is going to be a better game than what people are making it out to be. I'm going to go ahead and give a score prediction. I'm going to take the Bills uh 24-13, but I think the Cardinals are going to have moments where they look like they have never have in the
Yeah.
past couple of years. They're going to look decent.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Cardinals defense is so bad. I'm gonna take the Bills on a pretty high scoring game, at least for the Bills.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go Bills 31, Cardinals 10.
Okay.
Let's talk Titans Bears. Bears a 4-point favorite at home. I Look, these are two vastly improved teams, and people are way overlooking the improvements that the Titans made, especially when you put them up against the changes that the Bears made. But in my mind, this is automatic money on Tennessee. Like, honestly, this is automatic money on Tennessee. The Titans are, I'm going to say they improved just as much, if not more, than the Bears did. If you look around the
Mm.
field at the changes they made. Yes, the Bears got a
Yeah.
quarterback, which is a huge change, and they added another very good wide receiver. The Titans added a very good wide receiver to an already pretty good, at least promising quarterback. They added another very good wide receiver. He's not great, but Tyler Boyd is a very good wide receiver. They added another offensive lineman in the draft. They added an elite corner. They already had a pretty good defense before that and made other good defensive moves. I just think with the new look offense that really does suit Will Levis much better and allows him to utilize Tony Pollard in the passing game as well, that this Titans offense is going to work efficiently. They're bringing in the former offensive coordinator of the Bengals as their head coach. That couldn't be more different of a scheme than how the Titans looked last year, which was give it to Derrick Henry or throw it 40 yards down the field. Like, the Bengals don't
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, they run the ball a decent amount with Joe Mixon, but they would really rely on like 10-yard passes in the air to Jamar Chase, and they relied on a lot of motion and just a lot of route running. You have a lot of skilled route runners and a very skilled wide receiver room with a quarterback that is at least competent in the pocket. I'm not going to just go out here and just say that Will Levis is some great quarterback and that he's all that. There's still a lot to be desired with him. But I don't see where this discrepancy is between the Bears and the Titans. I think they're a little bit more of an even playing field than some think.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And we went through it earlier. I'm super high on Kenneth Murray Jr.
Yeah.
on Tennessee. I think he's going to be a very, very good player. To be honest, I'm on the fence of Tony Pollard having a good season, and I kind of think I'm in the minority there. And if he doesn't have a good season, I think people are probably more high on Tajay Spears
Yeah, I'm cautious with
as well.
Tajay
So
Spears. I'm not. I was a Alexander Madison denier, which obviously worked in my favor. I even pushed back on Jalen Warren when they tried to make him the starter in Pittsburgh because that didn't work either. So
yeah,
I'm just not a big fan of guys that have been backups for a couple years that are still backups, just all of the sudden being great. Tajay Spears has never had an outstanding performance. I want that on the record. I want everybody to know that. Tajay Spears has never had a performance where I was like, what a game. Ever.
yeah,
So I can't believe that he's going to just show up and take Tony Pollard's snaps. Tony Pollard is way more versatile as a running back. We saw that he can be very important in the receiving game. And I think for Levis, who is making a lot of changes to how he's going to have to approach his work at quarterback, is going to have to dump off the ball a couple times for some safety. And Tony Pollard is the guy to do it with.
definitely. It'll be interesting to see how the Titans switch their like run game play calls from a more like power back
Yeah.
like Derrick
But
Henry
it's
to a
also
more
they
elusive
made
guy like
huge
Pollard.
changes to the coaching staff. So
Yeah,
it's
which
not really
helps.
changing when the entire team changed as well.
That's still an identity, though. It's still,
Yeah, but it's an identity that
I
they
don't know.
fired and let go to Baltimore.
True, but like the best years of your team were doing this one thing. It doesn't
Yes,
really. I don't really think it has anything to do with like coaching changes. I think that helps, but like when you were good, you were running the ball hard and running it powerfully.
true. True.
You didn't change a lot of the players off on the offensive line either.
No. Well,
So I
because
think
they
it'll be
had
a
a
big
good one.
adjustment. Yeah. It'll be a big adjustment for
Yeah.
them, but yeah, I am with you overall that the Titans and Bears, like I'm not really too sure where the discrepancy is. I'm gonna take the Titans 20-17.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans as well. I would like to talk about these quick stats real quick, and I do want to address the Bears a little bit. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that Caleb
Oh, that's right.
Williams
We
is
never even
making
talked about Chicago.
yeah, Caleb Williams is making his debut. That has not boded well for the number one overall quarterbacks in recent times. The last number one overall pick at quarterback to win their first game was David Carr in 2002.
No way.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Kyler had the second best, which was a tie. Everybody else that has gone first overall as a quarterback has lost since David Carr. Sorry. And the last time the first quarterback off the board won their first game of the year was Sam Darnold.
Huh.
So
Wow.
he might become Sam Darnold if he wins. Just or David Carr, which are not those are two quarterbacks you do not want to be. So
No.
maybe it's in Caleb's best interest if he just loses this game.
Yeah, definitely.
And also look, yes, they are loaded on offense. The offense is unbelievable, and the defense is very good. I just don't trust Matt Eberflus. I'm still on
Yeah.
that. I'm not looking past that just because they made a good draft pick at number one overall. That was just the most obvious pick to make ever.
And won a couple games in a row last season at the end
With a
as well.
different
So,
offense. Like
yeah.
a fundamentally different setup for how this team was going to look.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. You can't and it's the same thing I was talking about with the Titans. You can't take anything good that happened last year and say, oh, well, it's going to happen this year because things fundamentally changed with these two teams in like big ways. So, I'm not quite as high on the Bears as everybody else might be. I do think they'll keep it close. I see this as like a 3-point game personally, just because I think the Bears defense is really good. So I'm gonna go Titans 20, Bears 17.
Yeah, I'm keeping my score. Uh, yeah, I think maybe the Bears start off the season slow. I'm super high on them. Um, but I don't think they're gonna win week one. Too many new players, too many moving things going on, and like you said, we really don't know. We've never seen Eberflus be consistent
Yeah,
in a good way.
no, and we've never seen a
So
Chicago Bears quarterback be good.
yeah, yeah, very true. I mean, Rex Grossman played in a Super Bowl, but that's
Huh.
pretty irrelevant.
He played
um,
for sure.
yeah, he didn't win, but he played.
No.
But there's no denying that Eberflus has just a stupidly good squad
Yeah,
in front of him.
yeah.
It's just whether he can
Which
get
I
those
think
pieces
puts
to
him on the
connect, I
hot
don't
seat.
know.
I think this puts him on the hot seat for sure. At least
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean, if
next
this
2
squad
years.
doesn't,
If this squad
yeah,
doesn't like
if
make the playoffs or win a playoff game in the next 2 years,
it's
because
him,
you got to give him time with
he's
Caleb.
done.
I'll give you that. You got to give him a year with
Yeah,
Caleb. He outlasted it long enough to get there. Now you got to let him at least get his years with him. But yeah, we'll
yeah,
see. Let's move on
yeah.
though. Patriots Bengals, the only team favored by more than a touchdown. The Bengals at 8.5 points. I would hate to be the Bengals in this situation because I do not want to be favored by over a touchdown in week one. That just seems like you're being set up to be upset. Now,
Yeah.
do I think the Patriots are going to win? Fuck no. Definitely not. Like,
Yeah.
Jamar is a maybe for the Bengals, but T. Higgins is still an elite wide receiver. I'm going to be honest. I like Chase Brown. I'm starting him this week in fantasy. I like Chase Brown at running back. for the Bengals. I think the defense is very good. At least up front, it is. The secondary has some work to be done, but very good young players back there that I'm excited about. On the Patriots side, they're what makes me not that interested in this game. And the biggest part is Brissett starting over Drake May.
Yeah.
It just kind of sucks. Like, I don't care if it's warranted. It just kind of sucks when you pick a guy third overall and you're not even going to use him.
Well, I think they want to make sure that he's not going to bust.
Oh, no, look, I get it. I'm just not as interested
Kinda,
in watching them now
yeah,
because they're still a
I
bad
like
team.
the by far. Yeah, I don't know. T. Higgins is questionable in this game. I heard that Jamar's practicing despite not
Yeah.
getting paid what he should be paid.
He doesn't even need to
I
get paid
personally,
yet. That's my issue. I'm not going to go into it, but he doesn't need to get paid yet. Continue.
I I don't know. I would hate to be Jamar still running around on a rookie contract being a top 3 NFL wide receiver.
problem-
and then you want to go out week 1 and lay your life on the line some more?
They've only had like 3 weeks to extend him. That's because he couldn't be extended before that. He literally
Yeah.
is still under contract for this year and next.
Mm,
Justin Jefferson waited.
yeah,
Like, get the fuck
that is
over it.
true. Yeah.
Continue.
But I don't know. At the same time, definitely deserves it though.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Yeah, he does.
Zach Moss, really excited for him. Also excited for Chase Brown. I think the Bengals have something cooking there. That
Yeah, I think a
maybe the
two-back
NFL's
system
kinda-
serves them way better. Because, like, Mixon was good, but if you would have utilized Chase Brown a little bit more, and I know he was hurt in the beginning of last season, but if you would have utilized him a little bit more, I think you might have seen better production out of the offense as a whole, and maybe at least better efficiency out of Mixon.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree there at all. And then yeah, aside for the Patriots, I think again that they'll probably be the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I really don't have much for them. I'm excited to see what Gerard Mayo can do. But I'm not.
You always call
hopeful.
him Gerard. It's very funny. It's Gerard.
Gerard.
Yes.
Sorry.
Jerod. Gerard.
What about Jared?
Nope.
Would that make you happy, Grayson?
No.
Jared Mayo.
No.
Yeah. Also questionable for the Bengals is Amarius Mims.
Yeah.
Too. Kind
Yeah.
of something to watch out for there. But then again, like I don't know how to take some of these questionable statuses because like T. Higgins, I'm pretty sure is practicing.
Yeah, he is.
So
Everybody,
yeah, I'm not.
half
really
the team's going to be
sure.
questionable going into week 1. That's just how
Yeah.
that goes.
Yeah.
Score prediction 20-3 Bengals. Whether Jamar's
I'll go
in,
21-3.
whether T. Higgins is in, I don't care. I'll give him
Yeah, it
2
doesn't
touchdowns.
matter.
I'll give him 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. That's fine.
Yeah.
Texans, a 3-point favorite on the road versus the Colts. One of the
Ooh.
few road favorites this week. Might actually be the only. Yes, the only road favorite this week. Sorry, there's 2. The Vikings are the other one, which nobody's favorite in that matchup. Texans, 3-point favorites at the Colts. This is like sleeper best matchup of the week.
Yeah, definitely. It's a rivalry game.
Yeah, and it's a long-awaited Anthony Richardson revenge game, I guess. This isn't the game that got him out for the season, but it's the game that led him to that. He got a concussion after scoring 2 touchdowns in this matchup in week 2 last season, which took him out for 2 games. Comes back, hurts his shoulder. So we get the Anthony Richardson CJ Stroud rematch. Last time, Anthony Richardson got them 2 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew came in and led them to victory. The Texans started off last season 0-2 because of that game, and still got to the point where they were at last season.
I don't even remember them being 0-2.
Yeah,
last year.
very odd.
It's wild.
But the Texans to me, are amazing. I think the Colts made a bunch of great moves. I wish they would have added another wide receiver. I do like A.D. Mitchell. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not like, I don't love Josh Downs or Alec Pierce at all. But Michael Pittman Jr. is awesome. Um, but I think the biggest thing to watch this Colts team for is Anthony Richardson healthy.
Yeah,
That's the
for sure.
biggest
That's
thing
what
to
I'm
look
looking
for.
forward to. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, and I kind of just drafted him off of the fact that I think he could probably be like Lamar 2.0,
Yeah, but way
healthy.
bigger and more physical.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
and
see
you could
him
honestly
very
argue a
similar to
better arm.
Josh Allen, just
Yeah,
not as
you
good of
could
a
argue a
passer.
better arm. Yeah.
Better arm, not as accurate
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Um, I think there's a lot to look forward to in this game. Like the
Yeah.
Colts defense is good. They have
Sure.
a lot of good players all around the field. The Texans defense is at this point emerging on star-studded with Will Anderson's breakout year in his rookie year, and then you add
Yeah.
Daniil Hunter and just a number of Derek Stingley. You go down the list, but yeah, the Texans team, and honestly, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. I'm gonna be honest. Tank Dell is getting wide receiver 2 looks. I think Stephon Diggs is the third option on this offense in my eyes.
Wow.
I don't know how well
Yeah.
he really fits in.
I don't know either because I we even saw it in preseason, like Stephon, coming over to CJ Stroud, kind of looks like he's giving him the business. And I don't think
I think
I'm sure
that's the
that the wide
natural
receivers
leader. The
probably
natural leader in Stephon Diggs is doing that. I
but
understand.
I don't think the wide receivers on the Texans appreciate that at
No,
all. They're Nico Collins, Tank Dell, John Mechie, they're not like
no,
that.
not
So
at all.
I could definitely see Diggs kind of being like an outcast, honestly, in this team. But
Yeah,
he's still Stephon Diggs.
true.
He's the most decorated wide receiver among them. So yeah, we'll see. Score prediction, super close game. I'm probably gonna take the Texans 24-21.
Okay.
That was
I'm
close.
going to take the Texans 27-24. I do think Anthony
Okay.
Richardson's going to have a very good game, personally.
Yes.
Okay. Jaguars, Dolphins. Dolphins, 3.5-point favorite. I think this game's big hit or miss. The Dolphins could blow them out, honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised. And the Jags could literally fight back and forth with the Dolphins all the way to the end, and I also would not be surprised.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, I don't see a world where the Dolphins look bad, particularly, at least on the offensive side.
No. I don't think the Jaguars have a secondary that's prepared for what's about to happen to them.
No. Most teams in the league can't prevent Tyreek Hill from going nuclear.
Yeah.
So I doubt the Jaguars are even in that position. Now, Ryan Nielsen, game changer at DC, but not enough to stop the Dolphins. Also, still some lingering injuries, though, on that Dolphins team. That was something I kind of talked about previewing their season a lot was, Jalen Phillips is going to start the season on a snap count, so he's not fully back, but he's clear to play. Jalen Ramsey is actually questionable to start the season with a calf issue. OBJ going to be out for a couple of weeks. Still recovering from an offseason surgery that he had. And then Bradley Chubb was on the PUP list, so at least 4 weeks without him. Um,
Oh wow.
so we're just gonna have to see about, especially the defensive side for the Dolphins. Obviously, OBJ is not a huge person to miss for that offense because he hasn't been there before, and he's not going to play a key role in my eyes. The big thing to watch for
Mhm.
them, at least, is the dynamic between A-Chain and Mostert and how that might change.
Yeah.
Because it seems like every
I
single person in the world is super high on Devin A-Chain, but why? Like, yes, he had great games last year, but then he would just get hurt for like 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I don't know. Is it fair to say that Mostert's kind of like your more like safe option, like more
Yeah.
consistent, more
Yeah.
accountability there?
He's one of the best
So
running backs all time in yards per carry. How do you just
yeah,
say that he's not the best running back on that team? I understand what
yeah,
Devin A. Chain has to offer, But the fact that Raheem Mostert is one of the most efficient runners of all time and had a historic rushing touchdown season last year, how do
Mhm.
you just pass that up?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea there.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to expand upon. I think, Trevor is going to be trying to prove his worth the entire year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he really can, personally. I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence whatsoever. As we enter the fourth year of his career?
2020 was
No,
85th?
2021. He was a rookie, right? 'Cause
Okay,
Trayvon
yeah.
Walker
I
was
guess
the
that
number one
sounds right.
pick in 2020. I think. I could
Okay,
be totally
yeah.
wrong.
Um, you know, a player that I'm kinda thinking about, what about Braxton Berrios?
What about him? He's
I
dating
I mean,
Alex
he's
Earl.
never yes. He's never, like, he's been in the league for a little.
He's a good
Um,
return man at
never
this point.
he's never had a season over 500 yards, but then again, like, I've always, like, admired his route running ability,
Yeah, no, he's a good
and
route. He's a good slot receiver, but at this point in his career, he's a specialist. He is a return man
I
only.
I think he could be even more special on this Dolphins offense,
Oh,
though.
I
He
like
is
that.
their slot
Good job.
receiver.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I feel like he could be an underrated, kinda nasty, like,
I
Hunter
just don't
Renfro
think
type
I
guy.
just don't think Tua's going to give him his looks. And also, I would not like to be compared to Hunter Renfro. That man fell off a cliff.
But he's disgusting.
Yeah.
Regardless of
Barrios
falling
also
off a
has like
cliff.
6 years on him, or like 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Score prediction: Dolphins 35, Jaguars 17.
I'm gonna go Dolphins 28, Jaguars 17.
Okay. Panthers
Yep.
Saints. Ugh, gross. Absolutely fucking disgusting matchup. Not only
Yeah.
because I hate these two teams, but like this might be the Saints' best chance all season to look good. And they have to play
Yeah.
the Panthers again, and this might be their best chance.
I love that. Yeah.
And they're a 4-point
Um,
favorite somehow. The Panthers are
I
that
don't even
bad,
like.
I guess. It's not somehow. The Panthers are that bad that the Saints are a 4-point favorite.
Will we see someone get in the end zone
Um,
this game? Probably.
yes. Yeah.
AK.
Yeah, AK could get into the end zone. Derek Carr could get hurt and probably get like carted off through the end zone.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
okay, crazy hypothetical. What if
Okay.
Bryce Young just goes insane? What if that happens?
It
I'm
gets us
not
all
taking it out
talking.
of the
Yeah.
cards yet. I'm not. I'm not giving up on Bryce Young because of 1 year when his team was absolute hot garbage. Now, his team is still absolute hot garbage, but they added a relatively good wide receiver. I'd say a good wide receiver in Deontay Johnson, and a very promising young running back who's not going to play week one. Um, and also everybody else still sucks except Adam Thielen sometimes. Um, the
And the one guy
defensive
that talks funny.
the defensive side is like laughable. Brian Burns
I got Michael
gone.
Jackson.
Dante Jackson gone. Like this is how the fuck did we decide that putting JC Horn on a team in the NFL was punishment? How did we get to this point where JC Horn playing and living out his dreams is also a form of punishment?
Yeah. I mean, he's always got his major to fall back on.
Yeah. So does everybody.
So does everybody.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett doing a great job on falling back on that.
It's just this weird hodgepodge. Like, you have guys like Shaq Thompson, Jadeveon Clowney, and
Yeah.
JC Horn, but like they're still just they're gonna get demolished.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and I
not
don't know how I even feel yet about Dave Canales as a head coach. I think it's really early in his career to be a head coach.
Why is there an argument for Johnny Hecker being the best player on this team?
He's okay. Yeah, there's an argument for being him number one. There's no argument that he's top three.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, there is no argument that he's top 3.
Yeah.
He's shit. He might get more usage than a lot of players on this team.
That's very yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah.
with my teams in college football right now, being Florida State and Kennesaw State when I care to watch, I've seen a lot of punting. And Alex Mastromano is a fantastic punter. He was the punter of the week last week. For that
For Florida State?
yeah, for Florida State versus Boston College. He was punter of the week. Isn't that
Oh,
nice?
wow.
Isn't that something I really wanted to fucking hear after that? Yeah, punter of the
God.
week. But I'm not going to spend any more time on Panthers Saints. Saints are going to win 13-3.
I'm gonna take the Saints 17-10.
Yeah. Also, 13 would require a touchdown. I can only assume it's going to be a pick 6.
Yeah. Love that.
Okay, Vikings favorites on the road -2
Ooh.
against the Giants. This game, if you thought Panthers Saints sucked, this game is entirely riding on 2 quarterbacks that nobody believes
Yeah.
in. Like somebody out there believes in Derek Carr, and a lot of people still believe in Bryce Young. Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold are as low as they could possibly be stock-wise in their careers.
Yeah. I thought that we both were believed in Sam
I
Darnold.
I like both of them this season.
Yeah.
But like looking at where they're both at right now, the public opinion on these 2 quarterbacks is unbelievably bad.
That is very true.
And
Yeah.
it's also like it doesn't help that like the Giants are lost a huge asset on the offense and the Vikings lost a huge asset on their offense that fundamentally changes the way they play. Both sides had crazy changes to their offenses. I'm most interested, obviously, in this QB play. Can Sam Darnold look good? It's unfortunate that JJ got hurt. Sam Darnold will be making the most of it. I know that for a fact. Daniel Jones is very interesting to watch. First of all, he grew out a beard. It is also confirmed that he's dating Kay Adams. So those 2 things are pluses in my mind for him.
Conflict of interest there.
Yeah, probably. Um, but like nobody's
It
gonna
doesn't
tell her
matter
not
though.
to.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna be honest. I'm watching this game from Malik Neighbors. Can I just? Fuck. I'm not gonna throw any other fluff into this. I'm watching this game from Malik Neighbors and also maybe Aaron Jones. Obviously, Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson will be on the field as well, so he's pretty interesting. But with Sam Darnold at quarterback, I'm not expecting Justin Jefferson to break the receiving record this year.
Yeah. We also we don't even get Hawkins socks either. He's
No,
also hurt.
he's also hurt. It's gonna suck. This game's
Um,
gonna suck.
Yeah. Kind of funny that the Vikings have Shaquille Griffin and Byron Murphy Jr. now.
Yeah,
Kind of forgot about that.
yeah,
And Stephon Gilmore.
yeah. And Dallas Turner, who they
Oh,
drafted,
okay.
Jonathan Grenard.
I
The defense is low
yeah,
key pretty good.
I was gonna say, especially their secondary is nice.
Yeah, which does
Going
not
into this
bode
year.
well
Still
for
got
Daniel
Harrison Smith.
Jones.
No. But he'll need to take off and start running.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give a score prediction that might sound absolutely absurd. 9-6 Vikings.
9 to. Oh,
Is
excuse
that-
me.
I think I feel bad for saying that right now.
Yeah, I threw up a little bit. My bad.
I don't blame you at all.
I'm gonna take Minnesota 21,
Whoa.
Giants 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Justin Jefferson's still there.
Yeah.
mean-
I'm just expecting this game to suck for some reason. I almost want it to. Does that make any
Yeah.
sense? Also, we didn't
Yeah.
even talk about the Giants' defense is much improved since last year.
Yeah, very
So
true.
that's a big part of
Very,
it.
very
too.
true.
Outside of losing Xavier McKinney, of course. Now, if you thought the last 2 games were bad, oh man, Raiders at Chargers. Chargers a 3-point favorite simply because they're at home. And honestly, they're probably a 3-point favorite only because Cameron Dicker can kick field goals. But
Yeah.
also the Raiders have a very good kicker as well. So yeah, this game sucks. Jim Harbaugh's coaching debut with the Chargers, at least, not his NFL coaching debut. Alec not Alec Pierce, Antonio Pierce, debut as full-time head coach.
Mhm.
I don't know what to talk about with this game. Justin Herbert is technically healthy. He is playing. That doesn't mean he's healthy. The Chargers defense has a lot to improve. And I think the new coaching staff will help personally. The
Mhm.
Raiders, Max Crosby, Max Crosby, and Brock Bowers.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I care about.
I just I need everybody to realize that the Chargers depth chart for wide receiver going into this game is
Oh
Joshua Palmer, Lad McConkey, and Quentin Johnston.
yeah,
Will Disley is their tight end.
yeah,
The three best players on their offense, like just looking at the depth chart, is Turbo, probably Rashawn Slater, and maybe Joe Alt or like Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins.
yeah.
That
Honestly,
is
Joe Alt might be walking into the building as like the second or third best player on this team.
yeah,
And he's an offensive lineman. Nobody should
wild.
be putting offensive linemen as like the best players on a team unless it's like Trent
No,
Williams. And he's
yeah,
probably also
exactly.
not top 3 on his team. And he's like one of the best players in the
Definitely
NFL.
not. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
score
it's
prediction
a
0-0.
division game.
No, obviously not. But yeah, division
I mean, we
game.
gotta be excited for Zamir White, right?
I am
Like
excited
that's
for
one
Zamir
thing.
White. He's going to
Yeah.
do a great job of getting them the 9 yards they need to fall short of a first down. Uh, let's see.
Yeah.
Chargers 13, Raiders 10. I think that's fair. Like, I
Um,
guess they can score a touchdown each.
I'm gonna go Raiders. Raiders 17, Chargers 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are they going to get to 16, if you don't mind me asking?
They're gonna score a touchdown,
And
and they're gonna
3
kick a
field
field goal,
goals?
and a field goal, and a field
Okay,
goal.
fair enough.
Yep.
Just wondering. Didn't know if you wanted, 2 touchdowns and a safety, maybe. Um, all right.
Ooh, yeah. Didn't think about
Hey,
that.
we don't nitpick. If you get it right, you got it right. Broncos Seahawks. Seahawks 6-point favorite at home. This is more okay. It's a better matchup than Raiders Chargers. We'll go out and say that. It's not
Yes.
great. I do think Bo Nix is the intriguing factor in this game. Everybody is probably well aware that Geno Smith is a player I am not high on whatsoever. Um,
Mhm.
but I do like other parts of that Seahawks offense. DK Metcalf, I think, will have a good year. I don't know what to think about Kenneth Walker. Do you have any opinions on him? Because I don't.
Don't either.
He's in a
I think
weird
it's more
place.
likely he'll bust than be really, really good.
Yeah, but I guess also you could toss up last year to a sophomore slump.
Yeah,
Like,
you could.
it's really tough. Pat Surtain got paid. We didn't talk about that on the podcast. Um,
Mega paid, yeah.
yeah, it was actually very funny. Me and Luke were having an interesting conversation about corner to wide receiver pay in regards to whether Travis Hunter will be a wide receiver or corner in the league. And
Yeah.
at the time, I said, Luke, who do you think the highest paid cornerback is? And I think your first answer was Pat Surtain. And you said, I'm pretty sure he got extended recently. And then the next morning, obviously I shut that down when I looked it up and it was Jair Alexander. Literally the next morning, I get a notification. Pat Surtain, highest paid cornerback of all time. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? So yeah, shout out Luke for, I guess, already knowing that Pat Surtain got the extension maybe weeks in advance. Whenever you first thought that this
Dude,
happened,
I have no idea.
it was coming. It
um,
was like, yeah,
Definitely. And as soon as Sauce Gardner and his agent saw that, they were already talking to each other.
oh yeah,
They were already like, "Yeah, we're getting more than
yeah.
this."
Sauce Gardner, well, he's about to get fucking paid. They're about to back up
Yeah,
the Brinks truck for Sauce.
yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
I kind of I wanted to go back to the Kenneth Walker discussion.
Yeah.
What are the odds that like Zach Charbonnet takes over and maybe Kenny McIntosh gets like reps this season? What do you think about that?
I don't know if it'll go down to Kenny. I don't know if it'll
No.
get to that point. I think Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, even at their not their worst, but at their average, is good enough to warrant not using Kenny McIntosh. He'll get some snaps. Every third
Yeah.
running back does. Just I can't envision that they're going to be that bad. Like I could see
Yeah.
Charbonnet with how limited he was in his rookie year last year, actually stepping up and maybe doing something.
He could become the starter, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Um, but like I said, I'm not very interested in Geno Smith. I'm going to be way more interested in this team if Sam Howell ends up coming in at quarterback, and it's not just because I took DK Metcalf in fantasy. Um, But Sam Howell certainly warrants a lot more receiving yards for DK Metcalf.
Sam Howell is a human catapult.
Yeah. Now, is he accurate? No,
No.
not at all. Not at all. And will he probably get
Damn.
sacked a number of times? Yes. But the Seahawks do have a bit significantly better offensive line than the Commanders did. Nonetheless, we'll get along with this game. You know what? I'm gonna buy in on Bo Nix today. That's what I'm doing. I'm
Uh-oh.
buying in on Bo Nix. Sunday will be a good game for Bo Nix. Um, Give me the Broncos. Let's go 21-17.
You know what's crazy about the Broncos this year? I feel like nobody has talked about their new uniform.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nobody. Oh man, I'm not high on Bo Nix at all, but I've heard so much good stuff about him.
Me neither.
I'm gonna
But
take
I'm
the
gonna buy in.
Seahawks 21-14.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Important game. Cowboys Browns. Browns
Tom
2.5
Brady, baby.
point favorite. Tom Brady on the call. Fox's game of the week. Or America's game of the week, or whatever the fuck they call it. Who's surprised that the Cowboys are on it? Not me, because I think they had 7 of them last year.
Oh god.
It felt like every week the Cowboys were. I heard Greg Olson and Kevin Burkhardt sucking Dak Prescott's cock. Um,
Yeah.
I am interested to see how the Cowboys play with these contract issues still looming. Obviously, they paid CD, but you still haven't paid Dak. You still haven't paid Mark. Jesus, you still haven't paid Micah.
Oof.
What are those two going to look like on the field with these issues looming? Obviously,
Yeah,
it's in Dak's
very
best
true.
interest to look as good as possible to get as much money as possible. But for Micah, as a defensive player, as long as he looks like he's trying, it's good enough.
Yeah.
um,
I
Go
don't
ahead.
even know what to think about this game. I think it could be a shootout.
I think the offense for the Cowboys is going to look surprisingly different now that it's Zeke and Dalvin Cook in the backfield. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. I believe it's Schottenheimer still at OC for the Cowboys. If I'm him, I don't want to run the ball.
Mm-mm.
You couldn't possibly be lower on Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook than the year 2024.
Yeah.
There was
No,
no better
100%.
time to hate those two.
I mean, you could argue that maybe Dalvin still has a
Yeah,
shot because
he
we
might.
barely saw
He
him
might.
last
And
year.
hey,
But
Ezekiel Elliott, leading receiver on the Patriots last year in receptions.
that's brutal.
Yeah.
What do we think about Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver 3 for the Cowboys? Probably the most
Useless?
playing time he's ever going to get. Useless.
Yeah. I hate to do that to him,
Okay.
but that's my initial thought. You said Jalen Tolbert, and I thought useless. That's unfortunately how it goes. CeeDee Lamb is just going to get all of the targets.
Yeah.
And even if the Browns know that, even if Denzel Ward is fully aware of the fact that he's going to get all the targets, CeeDee Lamb will still have like 15 receptions.
Oh yeah,
It's
for
just how
sure.
these games are going to go, man. I am
Yeah.
interested to see the Browns offense. Can they be successful with Deshaun Watson, a quarterback, and without Nick Chubb? That
Yeah.
those two things didn't overlap very much last year, and when they did,
Uh-uh.
they didn't look good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm interested to see it. Obviously, like, dude, Kevin Stefanski last year won Coach of the Year because Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, this team, without Joe Flacco, this team would not have probably even made the playoffs.
No.
But Joe Flacco willed them to it in the final 5-6 games of the season and won Comeback Player of the Year and won Kevin Stefanski the Coach of the Year. And then got
It's
absolutely pummeled by the Texans.
it's remarkable. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is remarkable.
absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the Browns offense looks like. I'm not really worried about either of these teams' defenses. I know Deron Bland is hurt
Oof.
for the Cowboys, but Trayvon Diggs steps right in. How crazy. Uh, and I like the Cowboys draft picks as well. They didn't make a lot of picks, but I do like their picks that they made. The Browns, I I don't really know where I'm at with the Browns at all. I don't even
The
remember where
defense
I
is still
predicted
there.
them to be. Yeah, the defense is gonna be great. Myles Garrett, monster. Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
How you gonna? What does Gus Johnson say? You got barbecue back there and didn't invite me. That's what he said. That's all I can think of about Denzel Ward. Anytime I think about him.
Yeah.
Greg Newsome exists. I don't know what else to say
Um,
about the Browns. I don't
Owusu
like them.
Kamara
I'm gonna
or
just go ahead and say that right now.
Moa?
I think I don't like the Browns.
Wait. Why not?
I like the defense. Like I like the stars on the defense, but I don't know if I believe in them. Just I'm having this epiphany right now.
Yeah, I think Amari Cooper could be set up for a weird year.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the fact that he
Definitely.
kind of wanted to get that trade to the 49ers.
That is, I think, the most bizarre brushed over moment of the
Yeah.
entire offseason where he was like, "Okay, trade me," and it never happened. And
Yeah.
now he's just like happy again. I'm
Yeah.
so confused about
Like
what happened
the
there.
Browns must be like kind of low on their valuation of Amari Cooper. If they were gonna, the best offer they sent for Ayuk was they only get Ayuk and they give up a second and a fourth and Amari Cooper. You
Yeah.
must be so low on one of the most consistent wide receivers and certainly the most underrated wide receiver of like the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I don't
Definitely.
know how that happened. And then of course,
Yeah.
like Amari Cooper saying like that would be nice or whatever the fuck he said is
Yeah.
like a red flag for the Browns.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it is.
it's
It
crazy.
is. Really high on Njoku this year
Yeah, yeah,
too. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. Like the Browns offense just has so many question marks. I really don't know what to think about like how they're gonna be. Obviously, they don't have Nick Chubb. You know, I don't really believe in Jerome Ford as like an RB1
hmm
sustainably.
hmm
Jerry Judy sucks. Elijah Moore's meh. And I mean their offense is good. They got guys like Conklin, Teller, Batonio,
yeah,
but it honestly all comes down to if Deshaun Watson is turning the ball over or not,
yeah.
or if he's getting out of the pocket, getting positive yardage with his feet or not. Um, yeah, it's just weird. It can go either way for Cleveland offensively.
Agreed. I'm gonna go with I think I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I just believe in the
Yeah.
offense to score more points. Really. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys 28 and the Browns 21. No field goals,
Okay.
despite the Cowboys having the best kicker in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah. Um. I don't know. I'm gonna go with like a feeling in the air kind of feeling. I'm gonna go Cleveland 28, Dallas 27.
Okay. Very close one.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's
Yes.
let's try and pick up the pace here for these last three games. You got Commanders, Buccaneers. Buccaneers 3.5 point favorite at home. This really shouldn't
That's
be
Sunday Night Football,
close.
right?
No, Rams Lions is Sunday Night Football.
Okay. Okay.
Commanders
Gotcha.
Bucks is at 4:25, I believe. Um, this game
Yes, you're
shouldn't
right.
be close on paper, but if you look at it deeply, it might be. It might be a close game.
It could be.
It really
It
could.
could be.
Like
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels for the Commanders is just a topic on its own. Dan Quinn's defensive prowess is a just as a coach in general. Teams that he has coached have always have good defenses, either head coach or as a DC. And then McLaurin and Eckler, I think, are going to be huge assets to Jaden Daniels and his play style. Because Eckler gives him
Yeah.
this crazy, non-traditional option at running back that he can throw to whenever he needs to and get something out of it.
Yeah. I'm excited though to see. I keep forgetting that Dan Quinn is over in Washington now
Yeah.
because I wonder what Dan Quinn can do for a guy like Emmanuel Forbes who kind of got embarrassed last season.
I don't know if
Like
Dan
I wonder.
Quinn does much for him. I I think his hires do. And I trust Dan Quinn's ability to hire good defensive coordinators um, and good defensive assistants. So I guess Dan Quinn would be the impact there, at least at the top of the chain. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it's more of a confidence thing. What can Emmanuel Forbes do for himself this year?
Is Bobby Wagner the best middle linebacker that Dan Quinn's ever had?
Um, yes, because he had him in Seattle.
I don't even remember Dan Quinn in Seattle.
He was literally the DC during the Legion of Boom.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
See, this
That's
is
what
one
got
thing that
him the
makes you and I
Falcons job.
different. Your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator like knowledge is just stupid.
It's not that good. It's really not.
I think it is that good.
Really
I
is.
totally. So that was pretty much how Dan Quinn got famous. Then, really, like that's
Yes.
how he blew up.
Cam
Was from
Chancellor
that
put
era.
Dan Quinn on.
Yeah, I like that. I guess that's a pretty good thing, huh?
Yeah. Not for
Yeah.
me. He lost me a Super Bowl. That one still hurts, man.
I'm sorry.
It still hurts. Let's talk about Tampa, though, real quick. They had a change in OC, which I do think is a big deal because Baker worked so well with Dave Canales. I don't want to think it is, but could Baker last year have been lightning in a bottle?
Oh man, yeah. Honestly, I don't know.
That obviously we haven't
That's a big
seen
question mark.
anything happen, but the defense that the Commanders have could be a defense that is primed to show that if it is. It's a good enough defense that if Baker really does take a big step back, you'll see it week 1.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I do think that a
Um.
big part of this matchup, though, that you essentially have to consider is how good the defense is in Tampa. Like
Oh yeah.
Todd Bowles runs a tight ship, a tight ship as their head coach. Now, do I think Todd Bowles is maybe eternally on the hot seat and will never get fired? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like he
I can see that.
didn't win anything as a head coach. In case anybody forgot, that was Bruce Arians doing. So why does he just like get respect? Does that make any sense? Because
Yeah.
I don't find him like he's not some emotional leader. He's like the most stale faced guy at all times, and it's not like he's coming out and like making people be like, "Wow." Nobody
Yeah.
has ever seen a coaching decision by Todd Bowles and went, "Wow." I say wow about Dan Campbell 4 times a game. Sean McVay is like synonymous with fantastic head coaching. All those guys out of that Mike Shanahan tree kind of are. And Todd Bowles is just nothing to me. Him and Mike McCarthy do nothing for me.
Yeah.
It's not to say
Yeah,
that
Todd Bowles is a weird case.
yeah, it's not to say that the Buccaneers haven't been good and won't be good. I don't know how I feel about Todd Bowles. Obviously, in the back of my mind, I hate him for just participating in my division. But
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about his ability to lead the Buccaneers. So, with that in mind, I am going to take the Buccaneers. I don't think they're going to cover the 3.5 points. I think the Commanders keep it close. I'm going to go Buccaneers 24, Commanders 21.
Okay, I'm actually going to take the Commanders here.
I
I
like
think
it.
it's a good storm brewing that they have. Commanders 21, Buccaneers 14.
Okay. Rams Lions, Sunday Night Football, playoff rematch. Matthew Stafford versus Jared
Ooh.
Goff rematch. Lions, a 4-point favorite at home. The Rams have a unique situation here this season because people are going to come out of this game most likely and be like, oh, the Rams aren't very good because the Lions are going to look very good, if I had to guess. And then the Rams are probably just going to like rip off a ton of wins. Like they are probably just going to win 10, 11 games out of nowhere in this season. But everybody after this game is going to be like, "What? Like why is everybody so high on the Rams?" If you don't really pay attention, it's going to change like quickly in
Yeah.
my eyes. I just don't know if
Yeah.
this game in particular is going to go well. I am kind of high on Matt Stafford though.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford's a weird case because like he's only going to get, older. He's only gotten
Yeah.
older.
I think the
I
problem
don't know
is
really.
for me, he's just like been one of the most talented quarterbacks the whole time I've been watching football. Whether it was at Georgia, then as he got into the NFL, he was always talented. It was just we didn't get to see it on display. And then 2020, was that 2020? I guess they won the Super Bowl or 2021.
mm,
2021.
2021, I
They
think.
won the Super Bowl, and like that season happened, and all of a sudden it was just Matthew Stafford. Like he was the guy. Obviously, Aaron Donald got the bulk of the attention for that one, but Matthew Stafford was all of a sudden the guy. Then we've gotten just 2 injury riddled seasons, and now everybody's back off the train.
Yeah, and I think I might be one of those guys. I just obviously, what you said is correct. He's been super talented. I would say, still coming off of like a fairly recent Super Bowl win.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very deserved Super
Yeah.
Bowl win. I just there's no way. I mean, I watched it with Ben Roethlisberger.
That's fair.
Started getting hurt and just kind of slowly fell off. So, but with that being said, I think the team around him is so fucking talented that Matthew
Agreed.
Stafford may not even have to do that much.
Yeah.
Which could bode well in his favor, keeping his body right, keeping mistakes down, giving it more to Kyron. I still think the Rams are going to be good, but Matthew Stafford's definitely on a down year, I think.
If I had to guess, Kyron
Healthy or
Williams will be very good this year. I can only safely assume that.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I think about their wide receiver room. Because you could go into this, and I might be going into this season not being all that high on either Puka or Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Because I think there has maybe never been a player more primed for a sophomore slump than Puka Nacua. Like the highest of highs. Literally the rookie receiving record.
Yeah.
But people are already questioning him. And he hasn't even played in his second season yet. And people are already questioning it. That just is a bad way to start. And then Cooper Kupp has just either not been able to be on the field or been outshined by Puka all year last year.
Mhm.
Over and over and over again. Since 2022, when he had that miraculous season where he broke the reception record, which, once again, first year of the extended season, so we got an extra game. Whatever. I'm not going to nitpick. I don't know about the wide receiver core, but I can assume that Kyron will be good, and I do think Matthew Stafford will be good. The defense is still questionable. They did make good moves. I think I kind of overlooked some of the moves that they made early on, But as the offseason came to a close, I realized that they did make good defensive moves. It's just really hard when Aaron Donald isn't on that defense anymore to say that the defense looks good.
Which is why you got Jared Verse.
Yes, and Braden Fisk, which I am super excited about. I'm super excited about both of them. I just don't. Aaron Donald's name on that depth chart made the entire defense better. That's
Yeah.
the issue
Yeah.
for me. But also, Sean McVay is a wizard. So who knows what's going to happen. I do think the Lions are going to be great. We'll run through them really quick before we give a score prediction. I do think the Lions are going to be great. I do love Dan Campbell as their head coach. I think Jared Goff's also going to have a fantastic year this year. Again, maybe even better than last year. Amon-Ra, still going to be the dude, I think. Look, I'm not high on Jameson Williams. I'm not saying he can't be good, but I think what we're going to see from Jameson Williams is a step forward, but not ridiculous. He's not going to just show up out of nowhere after one injured year, one half suspended year, and just be amazing. He's not. And sure, he can be good. He could, get 850 receiving yards this year. But that, like, people are saying that he's going to be like a top 20 wide receiver in the league, and I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I really don't have an opinion on Jameson Williams. I think he's super talented. It's his first season going in with like no bullshit. I feel like
Yeah.
he's clean slate. He's not hurt. He's not got no controversy. I definitely think he could be at least top 20. That doesn't seem out of the realm at all, especially with Jared Goff at quarterback and really just an awesome offense. I think Jameson Williams is going to be great. Whole house just fucking shook. Sorry. Yeah, really interesting Sunday night game. This is a very good one, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, we get to see Terrion Arnold for the first time. Very excited about that. Hopefully Aiden Hutchinson gets off to a better start this season than he did last season. Yeah, I mean that's really all I got. I think I'm gonna take the Lions 24-17.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions 27-20. Okay. Jets 49ers, Monday Night Football. 49ers 4.5-point favorites at home. Aaron Rodgers, please watch out for Leonard Floyd this time. Please. This go around, just take it easy.
Yeah.
Quick thing. If Aaron Rodgers does come out hot, I'm going to have a really hard time not buying in early on the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if he looks
Me
decent
too.
against the 49ers, I'm going to do ungodly things.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think the Jets may not have the best offense in the league, but they have Aaron Rodgers, and
they
Aaron
have one of
Rodgers
the best running backs, in my opinion.
Aaron Rodgers is no guest to having to go against defenses like this and break them down, via his mind and everything. So the Jets have what they need to make this game a good one.
Yes.
So
that is true. But quick question, will Aaron Rodgers bring along the Packers' struggles with the 49ers and make them Aaron Rodgers' struggles with the 49ers?
That's who knows?
It's always a problem that you have to look out for. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is just, if he comes out hot, it's going to be really hard to deny anything because they have a great running back. They have two very good, one great, one very good wide receiver, in my opinion. And then on the defensive side, there might not be a team better than both of these teams. Honestly, both these teams, these could be the top two defenses in the league on paper.
Yeah.
But I still think the 49ers are going to win. Like, Christian McCaffrey is so good. Brock Purdy is just good enough to continue looking great. Does that make any sense? He's just good enough to be great.
Yeah, just good enough to be great. Yeah.
Deebo Samuel is there. Ayuk is back and ready to go. Trent Williams, is he back? Did he get paid? I think he got paid. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he's back. Pretty sure he got paid. On the defensive side, that defensive line is unbelievable. I didn't think that going out last year and getting the sack leader on the best team in sacks last year or the year before uh, would be beat. I didn't think that defensive line would be better this year, and it
No,
is. It is somehow.
somehow is.
And Traveris Ward is still there, and Hofanga at least should be back soon if he's not back already. There's a lot to look forward to in San Fran. And I think the best thing for the Jets here is you don't have to win necessarily to impress people with this game.
No,
I think it's
not at
they're
all.
very much in that position where they don't necessarily have to win to make people buy in. So I don't think they're going to win. And instead, I'm going to go 49ers 21, Jets 17.
Okay. I'm going to take the 49ers 24-21.
Okay.
Over the
That
Jets, yeah.
took so long.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea what just happened.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I kind of blacked out and just talked about football for an hour and a half.
Yeah. It is second and short.
It sure
It's not,
is. It sure is.
Second and home run derby.
Well, speaking of second and home run derby, let's talk about the MLB recap real quick. And by real quick, I mean real quick. The Chicago Cubs threw a combined no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Imanaga had the start. He got things rolling very well. 7 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 95 pitches. They pulled him. Nate Pearson came in for the setup in the 8th. Looked great. Shut him down. Porter Hodge came in and got the final outs to get the no-hitter. I think they won 12-0 too. So the offense was rolling on their own right. The Cubs combined no-hitter was the first time a team has allowed 0 hits and committed 3+ errors since Andy Hawkins' infamous no-hitter loss in 1990. The last time that a team, he lost in a no-hitter because so many errors and walks.
Damn.
Yeah, crazy. On the other side of Chicago, well, not on the other side of Chicago, the other team on the other side of Chicago won a game. That's probably bigger news than a combined no-hitter. If it was a no-hitter, it would be the headline. The White Sox winning a game is probably a bigger headline than a combined no-hitter.
And an even bigger headline is only 17 people were in the stadium to watch that game.
Well, no, it was in Baltimore, so people were there to watch.
I mixed up 2 clips. My bad. I saw that there were 17 people at a White Sox game today.
Yeah.
I thought that was the win.
No, unfortunately, it wasn't. The win was an 8-1 win, though, over Baltimore. It is their first victory since August 21st, which snaps a 12-game losing streak. It was only their 5th victory since the All-Star break. That's not good.
Oh, no.
And they now improve.
That was in July.
And by improve, I mean, I guess it's improved from where they could be. 32-109. And let me tell you, if you wanted to blame this on Pedro Grifol being a bad manager, Grady Sizemore has a sub-200 winning percentage as the interim manager. But then again, did I think Grady Sizemore was just going to step in and be a good manager? No. Did I heavily fuck with how good he was at baseball? Yes. So it's not like I'm going to change my mind on Grady Sizemore. He got ejected and didn't even have to leave the dugout to get ejected the other night. He left the dugout after he got ejected and got his money's worth. But he was ejected before he even left the dugout. But yeah, the White Sox suck. Another team that sucks decided to actually put together a good game as well. The Angels. A complete performance all the way around against the Dodgers, of all teams. Taylor Ward extended his American League leading hitting streak to 14 games. Mickey Moniak hit the longest home run of his career, 437 feet. And Griffin Canning struck out 7 in 6.2 innings pitched and beat the Dodgers 10-1.
Wow.
The Angels don't do that. That's not their job in this league. In nature, things have niches.
Yeah.
That's not what the Angels are supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the same thing when the Browns beat us in that wild card game.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, the Angels doing things that probably shouldn't be done, but certainly were. Ben Joyce struck out Tommy Edman on a fastball that
Oh
got clocked at
God.
105.5. The fastest recorded strikeout pitch. I believe it was the second fastest pitch all time at
Is it
105.5.
still second to Roldis
I believe so.
against McCutcheon?
Maybe.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I
Can't
think
remember.
so. Yeah, Ben Joyce is a alien.
Yeah,
And I
he
love
really
him.
is. And then you add in that splinker. Oh God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
Next thing, Matt Chapman got paid, kind of out of the blue, very late season extension, 6 years, 151, which is pretty good for Matt Chapman. Platinum glove, despite the offensive struggles that he's seen. Um, I think the main reason for doing this extension right now is that it voids the remaining 2 years of his contract, which keeps him from being able to opt out after the season.
oh, yeah. That's smart
Because like
for
he was
the
a free
Giants.
agency signing. Um,
Yeah.
and they signed him to a 3-year deal and then extended him less than a year into it just so they could void
Damn,
the
that
next 2 years. Very interesting
you
move.
know, it's crazy. First time I've heard about him pretty much all season long is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like he's had I've seen some highlights, a couple of home runs here and there. Definitely
Yeah.
nowhere close to the start he had last year. I don't know if you've even seen much about this, but Aaron Judge made an appearance on Paw Patrol,
Oh God. Yeah,
and
I've seen it.
since then he sucked.
His last home run was on Paw Patrol.
Yeah, yeah. I think before yesterday, Soto had also not hit a home run since that episode came out, but Soto did hit a home run yesterday. Batting average below 200 in this span. The Yankees have gone 3-5 and fallen out of first place in the division, all because of Paw Patrol. If I had to guess.
Yeah, this is it. It happens to the Yankees at least 3 or 4 times a
Yeah.
year. We just hit a rut that makes all of us depressed.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's even
it's
worse that it's because of
horrible.
children's TV.
I know, and we even got walked off like last night or the night
Yeah.
before. Like the only good thing on the Yankees right now is Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah, and he couldn't get his bat weight off the other night. I don't
Yeah,
know
he
if
had
you
to-
saw that. That was hilarious.
He had to get Stanton to help him.
Yeah, I'm pulling up a picture of Aaron Judge on Paw Patrol because I didn't actually see it. I just heard about it. Oh
Okay.
God, that is like horrifying.
Pretty cool, huh?
It's like really jarring to look at.
I saw that all the players' families got to go to Yankee Stadium and they watched it on the Megatron there. And
That's awesome.
Even when I saw that, I was like,
Love
that
that.
we are having way too much fun right now.
Yeah, that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
Figure it out, Boone. Next thing, another fall off. Jeremy Pena. Why? Where did that come from? Why did he fall off the face of the earth?
Yeah, I don't know.
Remember when he was good 2 years ago when we started this podcast?
Yeah.
He made an error
Where is he
on. He's still an Astro and still at shortstop. Maybe not for long. I made an error on what would have been the inning-ending groundout the other day, and the score would have been 3-0 if he would have just made a very simple play. On his left side. Instead, he missed it and it rolled to the outfield, which I think scored 2 runs at the time. The inning ended at 9-0, all because he did not make that play. Essentially, obviously, other things happened, but they could have gotten out of it at 3-0. And people are now calling him horribly done nickname. They were calling him Errory Pena instead of Jeremy Pena. Sucks. Doesn't rhyme, but I understand where it comes from. Speaking of young, promising Astros, Spencer Arrighetti, August's Rookie of the Month and almost no-hitter a couple weeks ago, like last week. Made a start last night, and that is as nice as I could put it. 0.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 9 earned runs, and 3 walks. No strikeouts.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, safe to say, not going to repeat as Rookie of the Month, if I had to guess.
Off of this one alone, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
that kind of
not.
takes you out of the running. Let's talk about a team that is so up and down. since May 1st, the Seattle Mariners have played 110 games. Okay? They are 45-10 when they score 4+ runs in a game. They are 8-47 when scoring 3 or less.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But what's
8-47.
crazy about that is that they have an even 55 games scoring 4+ runs and 55 games scoring 3 or less. So they're consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I can tell you this right now. When the MLB season's over and it's time for us to preview next season, like come, April, March, I am never going to say that the Mariners are ever going to be good again. Ever.
I'm with you. I am with you.
I'm tired of it. I am tired of it.
Yeah. Okay, now we just got some random things to end this off. Elvis Andrus will officially retire as a Ranger on Friday. Club announced that
cool.
the other day, and Michael Young and Ron Washington will be there for the press conference. And Elvis Andrus and Michael Young will throw out the first pitch together.
Oh man, we got to get Beltray in there.
I guess he's just not available. But they got Ron Washington, who was the manager from 2007 to 2014.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like
awesome.
Elvis Andrus a lot. And Michael Young, pretty
Me too.
underrated player all time. Pete Alonso did something not only cool, but something that I respect. Maybe the only time ever. He snapped a bat clean in half over his knee, and it looked awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he struck out, as per usual, and just fucking crushed this bat and just left the handle sitting there and then tossed the barrel.
Which, as a baseball player, you can attest to this. That like when people watch like the videos, like Bo Jackson breaking it over his helmet, like that's not easy, right?
No,
like that's not supposed to be.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
like,
what I thought.
I would assume Pete Alonso is like black and blue wherever that bat hit, like bad.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Like, it is not easy to break a wood bat over your arm, or like over your, especially not over your helmet, Bo Jackson, but over your knee is just as hard. Like, it is not simple whatsoever. So yeah, I guess shout out Pete Alonso, because that is insanely difficult.
Wow. Yeah. Kenley Jansen just smoked him, and he freaked out.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
Oh, that is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of even goes deeper. Like it was crazy that a couple weeks ago, Giancarlo Stanton broke his bat on the swing. We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even happen?
I would assume it was a crack that he didn't notice. If I had to guess, there was probably a crack already in the bat and he didn't notice. So when he swung, it just snapped.
Yeah.
I got one last thing. Whit Merrifield got hit in the head.
Oh yeah.
With a 94.5 mile per hour fastball. And afterwards, kind of phrasing it as saying that like the state of pitching in the Major League Baseball is pathetic. There's parts of this I agree with, and there's parts of it I don't. He said, it's bullshit. It's driving me nuts. I hate where the game is at right now with that. And that's kind of mostly referring to young pitchers being brought up. He was hit by a rookie pitcher. Young pitchers being brought up that don't have control, and they're just being expected to run out there and throw as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Which I do agree with. I think that is unsafe, honestly, but there's no way to prevent them from doing that. Whether you're a veteran or a rookie, you're allowed to trot out there and try and throw as hard as you can. You made it to an MLB roster. They didn't bring you on this MLB roster because you can't pitch.
Yeah.
But guys get errant sometimes. But I also agree with him with the fact that it's like he said where the game is at right now, it's just ridiculous. The way pitchers are throwing now, there's no remorse or regard for throwing up and in. Guys are throwing as hard as they can, and they don't care where the ball goes. And he adds on top of this that it's bullshit that you can't hit a guy back anymore. Saying that there's no fear that if I hit this guy, our guy is going to get hit. because
Yeah.
pitchers aren't hitting anymore. He said that's not the game anymore. Pitchers don't have to hit, so they don't have to stand in the box. I agree with him on that. I do think pitchers have gotten to a point where they feel like they can do whatever they want because they don't have to get in the batter's box the next inning.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, Whit Merrifield got hit in the head. He's now the 4th Braves player that has gotten hit on an up and in fastball. Austin Riley's season is pretty much over because of it, because he pulled his hands back and it hit him on the wrist. 2 other players have also gotten hit. And Michael Harris took one, and Travis d'Arnaud missed some time last month getting hit up and in. But Merrifield as well is a player representative on the MLB's competition committee, and said that he's planning on having a long conversation with other committee members on in a meeting on Wednesday about this. So the next thing he said was teams are bringing up pitchers that they don't know where the hell the ball is going. They throw 100 miles an hour, so they're like, all right, we'll see if this guy can get outs. Just set up down the middle and throw it as hard as you can, and it's bullshit. So rightfully very mad. And he mentioned his 3 teammates that had gotten hit, and also said, I watched Taylor Ward get hit in the face last year and have to get reconstructive surgery. Justin Turner got hit in the face last year. It's happening at an exponential rate. Guys are getting hit in the hands. Mookie Betts broke a bone in his hand earlier this year. It's just ridiculous, and it has to be fixed, or God forbid something terrible is going to happen. And if this hits me in a different spot, it's just pathetic. It's frankly pathetic. Some of the pitchers were running out there, don't know where the ball is going at the major league level, and it's got to be fixed. So not happy, and rightfully so. I'm going to defend my newly inherited guy in Whit Merrifield, and just reaffirm, he's right. It is a little bit ridiculous that guys are just getting brought up out of nowhere. Like, there's guys getting brought up from single A just because they throw 98 and they trot them out there for 1 inning and they don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
Yeah.
I get that part, but it's also it's remotely uncontrollable in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for the MLB.
It's a weird kind of line to walk there.
It is. You got anything for the MLB real quick if you want to?
All I had was Paw Patrol.
Okay.
You took that one.
Yeah.
So
no more Paw Patrol.
We're good.
No more Paw Patrol for the Yankees.
Hopefully.
All right.
Please no more Paw Patrol.
All right. Okay. Let's get into the Champions League. Once again, I'm going to try and keep it short just because I know we went so long already. But we got a new Champions League format. Now, key points here. Format changes from 32 clubs to 36 clubs. There is no longer groups. There is not a group stage, technically. There's not groups of 4. It is now a single league competition where all the teams will be put into a league, and each team will play 8 matches. All 8 matches against different opponents. So they will no longer play those same teams 3 times twice. They will play, the same 3 teams twice. They will not do that anymore. They'll face 8 different teams. Half of those games at home, half of those games away. All the teams are going to be ranked into 4 different seeding pods, as they're called. It's kind of just like groups, essentially, of seeding. And each team will play 2 opponents from each seeding pot. So you'll have 1 home and 1 away against a team from each of the seeding pots. So it's supposed to be a competitive balance move. And I do think it does balance it a little bit. And it also controls the draw a little bit more, to be a little more refined. That way we don't have groups where a really bad team comes out of it just because of luck of the draw, essentially. When the league stage concludes, the top 8 teams will automatically move to the round of 16. The teams finishing 9th through 24th will compete in a 2-legged knockout phase playoff, and any team that finishes 25th or lower, any team that finishes 25th or lower is eliminated, and they will not be put into the Europa League. So no teams will drop from the Champions League to the Europa League anymore. In this playoff phase, that's the 2-legged knockout playoff phase, the teams that are 9th through 16th will be drawn against the teams seeded 17th to 24th. Those 9th to 16th seeds will get home field in the second game, I believe, because it is a
Mm.
home and away. The winner of that advances to the knockout stage, and then they will be drawn against some of those top 8 seeds. Um, the main initiatives of this, like I said, competitive balance, of course. Uh, they also want every game to count. Every game all the way through this is going to count for both sides or one, if not the other. And with this new league format, they ensure that any result has the potential to dramatically change a team's position right up to and including the very last match day, which we will talk about the details of that in just a moment. But winning or losing the last game of the league phase could make it the difference between a side qualifying automatically for the last 16, entering the playoffs, or even being eliminated from the competition altogether. So they're really stressing the fact that they want every match to count for every team. So that's
Actually,
the big moves, and I love it.
I totally I didn't even think about that with the new format because like in some cases you would have a team by like match day 5 like could have already
Yeah,
qualified
exactly.
or by the time match day 6 comes around it's like not even their starting 11, but with
No.
this it actually changes that.
Yeah, because think about it. Okay,
That's pretty
let's
big.
in just whatever scenario, I don't even know if this will be the case, but let's say Bayern Munich and Real Madrid are 1 point separate going into the final match day. They have to do something about it. And I'm sure there's probably another team that's 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's going to be a big deal because your seeding is a big deal as well. Just because you made the top 8 doesn't mean anything because you probably want to be the top one out of the whole thing. You probably don't want to
Yeah.
be eighth. I don't know exactly. I would assume that those 9 that move or the 8 that move on from that knockout stage or that playoff stage or whatever they call it, that go to the round of 16, I would assume those 8 teams would just be drawn. It wouldn't be seeded.
Yeah.
But we'll just kind of have to see how that works right now. But there's a lot of great games. And also a big thing that me and Luke were talking about when we first looked through this draw was that every single match day is full of very good games because the way it's set up is we don't get Champions League games every week. Instead, every other week we get every team. So we've got um 36 teams, which means there's 9 matches on Tuesday, 9 matches on Wednesday, every other week for a couple of months. And then it
Yeah.
culminates with match day 8, which is every single team, every single matchup kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that Wednesday. And that is going to determine everything. So just like how the Premier League works, and I think most European leagues work, every single match will be played at the exact same time on the final day of of this league phase, which is going to be super cool. But let's run through some just key matchups across the matches. Do you have any other thoughts before we go into the key matchups?
No, I'm just excited to see how it's going to play out. I mean, that's really it.
Yeah. Obviously, with these key matchups, I don't know who's really going to be good. I haven't gotten the chance to see a lot of these teams on the field. I haven't watched too much outside of the Premier League yet. But match day 1, top 3 matchups that I saw at least, AC Milan versus Liverpool, I think could definitely be a great one. Luke told me, which I wasn't really aware of all that much, that this is a super historic championship rematch for the Champions League. What year was that? It was early
Uh
2000s, correct? Is that
yeah,
the
it
right
was
one I'm thinking of?
yeah, I think it don't quote me on this. I think 2005 was the crazy game where Liverpool came back from 3-0 down again with a Milan team that had Maldini. I mean, like
Yeah.
everybody. Carlo Ancelotti was the manager. And then in 2007, Milan and Liverpool met again in the Champions League final, but Milan took it like 2-1
Okay.
or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
We
Something.
also have Manchester City versus Inter, which I think could be an interesting matchup. Inter has been a pretty dominant team in Serie A for the last couple of years since they've really turned things around. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what they can do against Man City, who is obviously at the height of their strengths as per usual. Um, Next one I'm very interested in. I don't know if this is exactly a key matchup, but I'm interested to see how both these teams look against each other and just separately. PSG versus Girona on match day 1. I think could be
Yeah,
interesting. Obviously,
yeah.
Girona did have some major losses. You lost Savio to your parent club in Manchester City, but um, Girona, I think, still will be a competitive team. They still have the money. Like that didn't
Yeah.
change. You still
I thought
have the money from Man City.
I thought Savio came from the FC Troyes or whatever, not Girona.
No, so he was. So they also own Troyes, and he was on
Oh,
loan from Troyes to Girona last year. Was amazing at Girona. Returned from loan and then got sold to Man City.
uh, okay.
It's
Gotcha, gotcha.
essentially just like a money laundering scheme, pretty much. If I'd assume.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I'm interested to see how that works. Like PSG is continuously becoming a new look squad, but this is going to be their first European competition without Mbappe since what 2018.
Dang, yeah, you're right. Wow.
He was with them for quite a while, and then of course they had Messi
Yeah.
and Neymar. Like this is a big change.
Yeah. At least you have Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos. Hey.
Killers out there, man. Uh, crazy enough to say that you could have said at least you have Ousmane Dembele, and that would have been a positive thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see what he
Right.
looks like without Mbappe in the lineup. I think that's a big factor here. Is somebody going to step up as a goal scorer on that team?
Yeah, I honestly, now that you're bringing that up, I don't really think anyone's thought about PSG without Mbappe. It's
No.
more so what will Real Madrid be like
Yeah,
with Mbappe?
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I'm interested to see that one. We'll go into match day 2, though. Arsenal versus PSG. Just obviously just two teams full of talent.
Wild game. Yeah.
Um, Aston Villa versus Bayern, I think, is a sleeper.
Ooh, yeah.
Big time sleeper. It's one of those
Like
matchups
that.
that like you don't even think about the fact that it could happen. Like we all knew that Aston Villa was in the Champions League all off
Yeah.
season, and we never once thought Aston Villa might match up against Bayern.
Yeah. Vincent Company gets to try to beat Aston Villa again.
Yeah, and if it could be wrong, but I believe this will be Bayern's first match against a Premier League side under Vincent Company. So that would be interesting.
Yeah. It will
Um,
be.
Match day 3, you've got Real Madrid versus Dortmund, so a rematch of last year's final, which did not go Dortmund's way, and I can't imagine this one will either, because I think
Definitely not.
I honestly think they probably got worse.
I don't know who
Somehow.
they brought in because they don't have Sancho, they don't have Fulkrug, they don't have Royce.
They don't have Hummels. He left as well.
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
know. I really don't know.
yeah.
I'm sure they lost more if
Really,
I had to guess.
boy, yeah.
um, and then that same match day 3, you've also got Barcelona versus Bayern Munich, which would have mattered at one point. But I don't know. I really don't know what Barcelona is going to look like. A
Or
matchup
Bayern Munich.
between the rejects of Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
By rejects, I mean he won each
Exactly.
of them a Champions League and then dipped and
Yeah.
won a different one. Match day 4 is our first like big. Honestly, there's just a great run. Match day 4, 5, and 6 are unbelievably good. Match day 4, you've got AC Milan or Real Madrid versus AC Milan, which could be good, could be a blowout, but Carlo Ancelotti homecoming, if you care. Um,
Yeah.
and then you have Liverpool versus Leverkusen, which Leverkusen not off to a hot start in the Bundesliga, despite last season. um,
Liverpool off to the hottest start in the Premier League.
yeah, so we'll see what that one looks like for both of those sides. Xabi Alonso homecoming, if you care.
Yes. We all
PSG,
care.
yes, I definitely care about that one. PSG versus Atletico Madrid. Um, I don't know how I feel about either of those teams going into the season. Obviously, we already talked about
Atletico Madrid
PSG, but
definitely got a lot better.
yeah, I do think they
That's
got
for
better
sure.
for sure. But it's
Yeah.
like weird changes. It's not the typical Atletico Madrid changes that we're used to in a summer.
Yeah.
Very, very different
That's
look for
true.
them. But I still think it'll work well with Simeone's setup.
Yes.
We also have Inter versus Arsenal, which I think could be a fun one. I don't know if I'm high on Inter necessarily, but I do think they're good enough to compete with good teams in Europe.
For sure. Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
Match day 5, you got Bayern versus PSG, which is a matchup that it seems like we see every year in the Champions League somehow. I don't even know if we saw it last year, but I feel like we see it all the time. Um,
Yeah.
Inter versus Leipzig, which I think is a fun one, just because Leipzig still could be good, despite the fact that They're just a factory for stealing players. Well, they steal them at the youth level, and then other
Yeah.
people steal them from them once they're good. Um,
Exactly.
then you've got Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso rejects. uh, Too many connections. Yeah, Liverpool versus
Yeah.
Real Madrid actually, I think could be a really good one at that point in the year. We'll see. I don't know. I think Liverpool might fall off at some point soon, but who's to say?
I'm still kind of
Aston,
betting on it too, but they look red hot.
yeah, they do.
I mean,
Yeah,
red hot.
specifically red. They look red on the field.
Yes.
Uh, Aston Villa versus Juventus as well on match day 5, which I love. I love
Ooh.
that. Love the idea
Yeah.
of Unai Emery versus Thiago Motta as a managerial
Yeah.
fight here. Because I love what Unai Emery's done with Aston Villa. And if you heard me talking about Bologna at the end of last year, you know I like Thiago Motta and his coaching style. As
Yes.
a tactics guy in soccer, that's like the first thing that I watch for when I'm watching soccer is tactics and how I think the team moves around the field. Thiago Motta is unlike anything I've ever seen. Um, so I'm very excited to see how that works for Juventus. I need to probably watch a couple of their Serie A matches this season. Match day 6, got another four-peat. Leipzig versus Aston Villa. I think any game involving Aston Villa could be good because I do think they're actually going to be a strong contender.
Yeah.
Leverkusen versus Inter. Same reason as Leipzig versus Inter would be good. Dortmund versus Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski homecoming.
Nice.
It's so many.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's just going to be entertaining just because Dortmund and Barcelona are teams that, like, at least for me, when I first started getting into soccer, those were some teams, man. Like
Yeah, oh,
2014
yeah.
Barcelona, 2014 Dortmund. That was awesome.
They were pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Definitely.
you also have Juventus versus Man City, which, like I said, Thiago Motta's system against Pep Guardiola's system just seems like a fun matchup to watch.
Okay. I'll have to watch videos on Thiago Motta because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
way more as a player than I do as a manager
Yeah.
about him, so
Yeah. Thiago Motta's style is unbelievable. Go watch anything about like Xerxes last year, and you'll kind of see it on display.
Okay.
Match day 7, you only got really 2 good matchups: Atletico Madrid versus Leverkusen and PSG versus Man City. And then, like we said, match day 8, there's not really any key matchups there, but they're all important.
It's
That's
weird.
the nice thing.
Yeah.
Seems like all the good matchups already happened, and we're kind of seeing like maybe it's like kind of the 1 versus 4 in the seed pots and the 2 versus 3s that week. I'm not really sure what
Yeah.
happened there, but not a lot of great ones. But we're going to talk predictions more, so we might get into some of the other teams that weren't mentioned here necessarily, that maybe didn't have quite as hard of draws, I guess technically is why we wouldn't be talking about them today. But we'll be doing a little bit more of a structured preview next week. But for now, we will wrap up the Champions League, which I am super excited for. I'll kind of give that precursor.
Y-
I'm very
Yeah.
excited for the Champions League this year.
Way more good games than you would normally see like in a group
Yeah,
stage.
and I think
For
it sets
sure.
up a super enticing playoff stage. I think that playoff stage is going to be
Yes.
really fun because there's going to be teams that aren't in that top 8. Like, we went through a lot of really good teams here that aren't going to
Yeah.
make that top 8. And if they end up duking it out in that group stage, if some team slips up and doesn't look as great and they end up, in 20th and they match up
Yeah.
against some team in 9th, there's a chance they could still win. Like, it's not unbelievable. It's not out of the cards, which I think is going to be
Even
really fun.
a little bit one thing that I'm bummed out about the Champions League this year is we get no Fenerbahce or Galatasaray.
Yeah.
We get no Victor Osimhen and no Jose Mourinho, which
Yeah.
just kind of, I don't know. It would be more fun, more entertaining if they were a part of it
Yeah. Well, Victor
in
Osimhen
some
didn't
way.
play well enough last year for Napoli to be there anyways. So
That's yeah.
actually, they
Yeah.
might be. Napoli might be in there, and I just didn't care about any of their games because they're not going to be that good. Nonetheless, we will move on to questions time. It is that time of the episode, and by that time, I mean over 2 hours in. So now we naturally
Let's see what you
start
cooked
questions
up,
time.
Nathan.
Yeah, we'll see what Nathan cooked up. We got a traditional questions time. Love the title, so I will read it this time. I'll use the raining emoji and the sun emoji. It says rain or shine. It's questions time. Um, we'll start off with this
Love that.
first question that I think Nathan asked me the other night. If you and your friends made a basketball team, how big of a lead would you need to beat Team USA from the Olympics this year? How big of a lead would you have to
Wow.
start that game with?
Is it a full game?
Yes, 48 minutes.
Probably like 300 points.
That's what I was thinking as well. Okay, so let's assume
Yeah.
it's a second and short team, and it's me,
Yeah.
you, Nathan, Colin, and we'll just go with Mike just to give us a little more of an advantage over Ethan.
Yeah.
We would need at least 300. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because, like,
At
we're
least
not
300 points.
stopping them. But also,
No.
LeBron has never matched up with a guy like me. I'm just saying. LeBron has never matched up with me.
You're
Now,
right.
does that mean he's going to have a performance that we've never seen from LeBron James? Probably.
Yeah.
But they don't know me like that, bro. They don't have it. There's no scouting report. There's no scouting
You're
report
right.
that they could have. I know everything
They don't
about these
know.
guys. I
That's
could
very
literally
true.
figure out everything about these players if I wanted to heading into that
Yeah.
game, but they wouldn't know shit about me.
Oh,
So
I
I don't
love
know.
that.
We'll see.
But yeah,
Uh,
300 points.
yeah, 300 makes a lot of sense. Next one. Next question. Or next
Stephen
one.
Kwan?
Yeah, Stephen Kwan. Next is Stephen Kwan. No, next is Aaron Judge. He currently has 9.5 WAR. Luis Arias has 0.8 WAR, which is crazy. He's also only struck out twice since the All Star
What?
break. That was just a fun fact I saw the other day.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Luis
That's like
Arias
the most insane thing I've ever
only
heard.
struck out twice since the All Star break. I think. And what's funny is that he
My
has a
God.
3-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio since the All Star break because he's only walked 6 times.
Oh my goodness, dude. Wow.
But there is a difference in their WAR of 8.7. The lowest WAR in the league right now is -2. Do you think that if you played a full season, you would have a WAR closer to closer to Luis Arias than he is to Aaron Judge? So would you have a WAR closer to a Luis Arias by 7.9 points than he is, which is 7.9 points away from Aaron Judge, which the lowest in the MLB right now, I would assume amongst qualified players, is -2. So if you played all
Hmm.
162, could you have essentially a -7.1 WAR is what you're shooting for? Could you have a -7.1 WAR if you played a full season in the MLB?
Would I get like at least an off season to like
So yeah, I'll give you the
work
chance
out,
to
work
work out and everything. Yeah.
uh probably not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So there is
Probably
one thing that you could kind of
not.
manipulate here.
Okay.
Can I be a first baseman? Because WAR doesn't fluctuate quite as poorly when you play bad defense as first base as if like I was playing shortstop.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
replacement level defense at first base is not as good as replacement level defense at shortstop or center field or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
What
feel
do you
like you
think?
have to play first base or be a reliever. It's really hard to
Yeah.
lose a shitload of WAR as a reliever just because you don't show up a ton. But like,
Yeah.
so I think if I was a reliever, maybe. It's a hard maybe. Um,
Yeah.
if I was a first baseman, it's a probably not. But I don't know. Like look, I'm gonna get out just about every time. So yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and say I'm not. I would have a 0 batting average if I had to guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll say no. We'll say I cannot attain that. I'm not gonna get into that fucking pickle. This is one that I'm excited to hear. Have you watched any good movies or shows recently?
Hmm. Um, I told Grayson a couple weeks ago that I watched all of the Avengers, like the Marvel movies,
Yeah,
in order, in chronological order, which was really really fun. So, but it's like TV shows.
I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. I can't do a
Yeah,
series nowadays, especially
yeah.
one with
I don't
multiple
either.
seasons. Can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
The
No.
one that I watched the most recent
Um.
though that I really enjoyed was it was on Amazon Prime Video. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but it was a reboot with Childish Gambino Donald Glover, and Maya Erskine. Obviously,
Mm,
it's a spin-off, I guess, technically, of the Brad Pitt version. I think it was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But it was awesome.
okay,
I really liked that show. It was like
that's
very
good.
like consumable. It was like hour-long episodes, and it was like 8 episodes.
Yeah,
Which is like
that's
super
nice.
super easy to get through. Um, I don't. I'm trying to think of movies I've watched recently. I watch a lot of movies, but it's like don't have any on the top of my head necessarily. Um, oh shit, what is that? Oh, Hacksaw Ridge. Watched that for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Fantastic
yeah,
movie. Absolutely I love. Okay, I am. I like a good World War II movie. I do. I don't know why particularly, but I love a good World War II movie.
yeah. I'm about to give you another movie, kind of up that radar.
Yeah. Another good
Um,
one, which I crazy enough in the same time period, Race, the Jesse Owens one with I can't think of
yeah.
the actor that plays Jesse Owens, but I know Jason Sudeikis plays the coach. That movie was also very good. That one came out like a number of years ago already. Well,
Um,
so did Hacksaw Ridge, but
yeah. Everybody should go watch Triple Frontier.
oh, I yes, I
It's
do know what
another
you're talking
war
about.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ben
yeah.
Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal. That movie was awesome.
Yeah. Uh, blanking on the name of the movie. Shit. I can't think of what it's called. I watched it on Netflix, and shit. Now I'm blanking on who the main actor was in it too. Fuck. I know Woody Harrelson was in it. Oh, it was Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, and they were retired Texas Rangers. And they were tasked with finding and killing Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh,
And I don't know what the name of the movie was. It's on Netflix. I'm sure you can find it. I'm not going to search it up. That's
yeah.
what I can think of at the moment. Um, yeah, I think I maybe have kind of already missed some of the movies that have been in theaters recently. I haven't been to a movie to a theater in a while. But I know like Deadpool versus Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine was in
Oh
theaters.
my
I missed out on
god,
that. I haven't watched that
that
one
movie
yet.
was awesome.
Yeah, I've heard great things from everybody. I heard Twisters
Yeah,
was decent, pretty good. Didn't watch
didn't
that
see
one.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's enough of that one. What is the goofiest thing you have spent more money than you should have on?
Shit. This is Nathan wanted me to do this, so I'll be right back. This
I'm
is exactly what
excited.
Nathan wants.
I'm so excited. It's got to be shoes, right? I can only assume that it's shoes. I don't know where he is going. I'm trying to think. I don't make big purchases unless it's things I necessarily need. Um, like I don't like I make goofy purchases, but I make goofy purchases on like shit from Goodwill. Like Mark Sanchez Jets 50th anniversary. Oh, it's the Patagonia jacket that you wear every day. Yeah.
This is
Everybody should
probably
recognize that jacket. Everybody. If you even if you
yeah,
don't know Luke in person and you just follow him on Instagram, you would know that jacket because I'm 90% sure you're wearing it in your Instagram profile picture.
I am.
Yeah.
I wish I had this $320 back.
I was with you when you
um,
got that jacket.
no, you were with me the first time I wore it to work.
I thought you ordered it online from Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh yeah, never mind. You were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was.
that's right. I do remember that. Yeah. No, I mean it's super nice. Like it's
It's
very
just an odd
lightweight,
pattern.
super warm. Odd pattern. I actually love the color. It looks
I
great with
do too.
jeans. But there was one time I was getting into the car and I had this on, and I was getting in the passenger seat, and my dad was already sitting in the car, and he goes, "Oh, are you a Packers fan?" And I just immediately was like, "No!" Oh man,
Yeah,
but
while you were gone, I was kind of talking to the viewers, and just explaining that, like, I don't make a ton of big purchases on things that I don't need. I'll make a
yeah,
shitload of small ones. I will. I'll make a shitload of small purchases on things that I don't need, like the Mark
yeah.
Sanchez jersey that I bought at Goodwill, and the number of other jerseys that I have in my closet, and that Julio Jones jersey, which was not a goofy purchase. That was a good purchase. It was just really cheap. Um, yeah, like I can't really think of too many goofy purchases. Um, all the times I've spent a lot of money, it has been things that I need or like really,
Yeah.
really want, and it makes sense. Like, there's definitely been some time. Like, okay, yeah, I think my goofiest purchase was the Air Max 97s that I bought. That were the Nike Next Nature Terrascape ones. I've worn them
Oh,
a handful of times, and they were like
how much was that?
160.
That's not
I
bad
know it's not.
at all.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're also a size too small. I just really
Oh
wanted them.
wow.
And I do kind of fit them.
Yeah.
But my right foot is too big for them.
Rip.
My
Yeah.
goofiest purchase wasn't my purchase. It's the goofiest thing that I have, which is the foam runners that Nathan got me for Christmas.
Oh
That's
yeah.
probably what it would be to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
like I said, I don't spend like I spent $25 on a sick ass Miller Lite Falcons sign. That's not goofy nor expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
what MLB player would you want to have dinner with? One current player and one former player. I'm gonna say you could also do dead or alive for that former.
Hmm. Um. Well, if I said Babe Ruth, there's a chance I'd just be getting a solo dinner.
See, that's yeah. um, Babe Ruth
Just kidding.
would be an
Um.
interesting one, mainly because he might eat everything at the table, and
Yeah,
the
and
woman
drink
next to
all the
you.
liquor. Yeah.
He might do something with her in the bathroom,
Um.
probably. Um, same goes for Mickey Mantle, I guess.
That's a wow. Um.
Okay, so I don't want to sound mean, but I do need to have dinner with somebody that speaks English.
See, I
I
I
don't
was gonna
speak
say that I
good
would
enough
like to sit
Spanish
down.
to do it. You do.
I would like to sit down with someone who doesn't. I would say, people have their opinions. Alive, I would say Aroldis Chapman. I would get dinner
Okay.
with Aroldis.
I think the first thing I'd have to ask him
Um,
about is the picture of him and his grandmother. But
yeah, yeah.
and that would probably ruin the
Either
vibe for the rest of the night.
either Aroldis, O'Neal, or Ellie.
Oh,
One of
interesting.
one of
What
those
about Juan
three.
Soto? He
Yeah,
speaks English, but he also speaks Spanish.
yeah. Juan Soto would be pretty good too. I think Aaron Judge would be like kind of boring.
I do think Aaron Judge is boring, most likely.
Um.
I think for me,
Okay.
current is
Yeah.
Ozzy Albies. I think he matches the vibes that I'm looking for, and like
I
somebody that I
I was
want to go
thinking
hang out
Ozzy.
with. Yeah,
Yeah. Rizzo would be probably pretty good.
yeah. He seems
Rizzo would
like
be
a food
entertaining.
guy for sure. He
Yeah.
like we'd be going somewhere underground, like a real good restaurant that nobody's heard of. Is what Rizzo
Yeah.
comes off to me as.
I want to pick a dead guy. Uh. hmm.
I I don't know. Hank Aaron, I guess, is my easy option.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Hank Aaron.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't thought of a single pitcher. I think pitchers are psychos. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Imagine getting
want.
dinner with Zach Greinke.
Yeah, dude. Like, what are we gonna do? Not make eye contact the whole time?
Yeah.
Like
Does
he's
his
just gonna be
tongue come
he's
out
gonna
from
be
here and
looking.
get his food?
He's gonna be tracing me with his eyes the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I will be lucky if he looks up from the tablecloth. He'll probably be counting the
Yeah.
threads in the tablecloth. I think Zach Greinke is Rain Man. I'm just gonna like throw toothpicks on the ground and be like, how many is that? Just test him.
Oh, poor Greinke.
Um,
Ted Williams. He fought in a war or two.
that is
so,
cool. A number of MLB
Yeah.
players fought in a war. I'm gonna go with former MLB player. I'm gonna go with Pete Rose. That guy's got a shitload of stories, and I gotta know if he was betting against the Reds.
He is a great talker too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good talker.
He's chock full of stories. And I've heard he's a mean guy. So that
Really?
probably would not be fun. But I need the stories is the main reason.
Yeah.
Okay. This last one, kind of like a very introspective question. Who would you say is the most influential person in your life?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nathan's really trying to get us to fucking think on this one.
Wow.
See, I feel
Um.
I think I just have to go with my dad, probably. Probably the most influential person in my life, just
Yeah.
naturally. I think that's probably a shared sentiment for a lot of men. Both my parents are kind of up there with that, like
Yeah.
to me.
I. Yeah, I would have to go with parents and like honestly like whole family since I'm very fortunate to be super close with cousins, aunts, uncles,
Yeah.
everybody on my dad's side. They inspire me a lot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's the same for me. Like I'm
for
super
sure.
close with like my entire family. So, and they're
Yeah.
couldn't ask for better. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would
As
just
far
I'd
as
have to go
in
with family. Outside of
as
family, I think
far
is more an interesting
yeah.
question.
If we're going to go outside of family and keeping it with sports because we are a sports podcast, but an athlete that is genuinely like I would say inspired me in more ways than just like like oh he's like a very cool player like genuinely like made me feel better about my life listening to them talk would probably be
Mhm.
Troy Polamalu.
I
He
like that.
is
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes
definitely
sense.
baby Jesus as like Taylor calls him.
Yeah. I don't. I can't really think of one. Like I had like role models and whatnot. Um,
Mhm.
I guess for me, this is like super odd um choice because it's not like a professional athlete. Would be Coach Pearson. He was my team sports coach as a freshman in high school. And then
Oh wow.
when I was a sophomore, he became the tennis coach, and that was the same year that I became the manager of my high school's tennis team. So I spent a shitload of time with him, um, and all the way through my senior year and through graduation, I was probably spent more time with him than like some of my close friends, just
Wow.
at tennis matches because everybody else was playing, and it was
Yeah.
just me and him, and like the stories he had and like everything, and like there was times when like because like I told him when I was a junior that I wanted to major in sport management. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, you got to make sure that that's what you really want to do. And because, like, as soon as I told him that, the first thing he asked me was like, okay, well, then what's the career that you're trying to get out of it? Because there's a lot of people
Hmm.
that go into that field and kind of misinterpret what it's really about.
Yeah.
Because, like, he told me, when he graduated high school, he was, or sorry, when he came back from the military, he was working at a golf course and decided that he was going to go to school. And the guy that was managing the golf course, or like his boss, told him like, you know, I think he wanted to get a degree in something that would essentially keep him working on golf courses. and
Yeah.
and his boss was like, "Are you sure you actually want to do that? Like, do you even know what that would mean for your future?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you actually want to do?" And he told me about this, and obviously he became a physical education teacher and a football coach. He was the defensive backs coach for a number of years at Etowah, um, and then somehow stumbled upon being the tennis coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, like me and him had a lot of very important conversations about like what I wanted to do with my future, and I don't think I had another teacher or anybody for that matter like that. So, and he passed away just over a year ago. Um, so
I'm sorry
yeah,
to hear
Coach
that.
Pearson is the probably one of the most influential people in my life. That was a fun thing to
Shout
talk
out.
about. I don't know if I've
Shout out
ever
Coach
mentioned him
Pearson.
on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Good question, Nathan.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
very good question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. And by that's it, I mean, that is 2.5 hours of podcasting right there.
It's back. Listen, weather gets
No, it's
colder.
not
Second
back.
shorts
It's
4
not
hours
back.
long.
No, because it makes my process 10 times harder when we do this.
Oh man.
Oh man, 2.5 hours. That was a fucking marathon, dude. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, I know.
that was grueling, to say the least.
You know what though?
Go ahead.
Every once in a while, like
We need it.
we have fun when
Yeah.
we go long.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Pause. I'm also like dying sitting here. Like I ran out of water hours ago, and I just kept acting like there was water in this cup. I
Ran
haven't
out of water
eaten
during the NFL.
anything. I have eaten 10 tortilla chips today, and it's 7:30 at night. I wanted this to be over from the jump, but I had a fantastic time. And if you also had a great time at any point of these 2.5 hours, you can let us know by liking the video on YouTube and commenting about what was your favorite thing that somebody said. It could literally be a single word quotation. I don't care. What was the favorite thing that was said on this podcast? Let us know in the comments. Also, give us every single prediction for all of the NFL games in week 1 in the comments. Comment the entire order of your standings for the Champions League league phase. And then in a separate comment, comment how many games the White Sox are going to lose this season. And then comment any of the good movies or shows that you've watched recently.
There we go. You guys got a lot of homework to do.
Yeah,
so.
a lot of work to do in those comments, people. So get rolling, and also leave a like on the video. Turn on the post notifications when you subscribe. Got to make sure you're subscribed. And turning on post notifications so you know that we're putting up a video. You never know what might show up. There might you never know. There could be a live stream on a Monday night, maybe, or maybe a college football specific show that would come out maybe once a week that maybe I've been thinking about, but I don't know.
We have not taken into account, like, it's second and short, but what happens when you get sacked?
That is true. You might need to be thinking about that position on the field. Nonetheless, make sure you join the second and short subreddit so you can submit your own questions for questions time. It's 2ND short. If you don't use Reddit, follow us on the social media accounts, and you can send us your questions there, and you could also stay up to date with everything going on. Probably not as much on Twitter. I'll go ahead and say it. I don't go on the Twitter very often. But definitely follow us on Instagram to stay up to date with that kind of stuff. And Luke, what are your wise words for those as we enter the NFL season?
Go check out my August Premier League Players of the Month video.
That's
if you
it.
Haven't already.
Listen to the man. You heard him. Go check it out if you haven't already. That's what he has to tell you for the NFL season. Enjoy the football.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
Yes.
Enjoy it. You got football tonight. You got college football tomorrow. You got football on Sunday. You got football on Monday, and then we all do it again on Thursday the next week. Everybody enjoy it. Enjoy the weekend. Luke, you as well. We'll see you next week. You'll see me on Monday with Colin. Peace.